Chapter 2231. It's them. Looking at the goat beast statue in front of him, Emo Qingyun's eyes were cold and his body emitted a murderous aura. Although he did not understand how the goat beast statue could be reassembled after being smashed into pieces. However, this was not important to him. Now, he only needed to confirm his guess, and that was enough. These statues seem familiar. Looking at the statues in front of her, Qian Linglong was deep in thought. She started to think quickly. Seeing Qian Linglong's reaction, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He quickly asked Qian Linglong, "Linglong, do you know where these statues came from?" "I don't know." Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong shook her head and said with a puzzled expression, "I just feel that these statues are familiar, but I can't remember where." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Emo Qingyun's face darkened and he was disappointed. While Emo Qingyun was disappointed, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes moved and she quickly suggested to Emo Qingyun, "Qingyun, Han Liu and the rest are experienced. Perhaps they know where these statues came from. Why don't you call them out to have a look?" "You're right. Let them come out to have a look." Hearing Qian Linglong's suggestion, Emo Qingyun nodded in agreement and called out Han Liu and the rest. After calling out Han Liu and the rest, Emo Qingyun did not waste time talking nonsense with them. He asked directly, "Do you have any impression of these statues? Do you know where they came from?" "These statues look familiar, but I can't recall where I saw them. These are the holy statues of the guys from the Sacred Fire Seven Beasts Hall. I didn't expect to see them here." "That's right. These are the holy statues of those guys. I saw them in the Divine Prison." Looking at the statues in front of them, Han Liu and the rest talked at once. Hearing what Han Liu and the rest said, Emo Qingyun's face lit up. He did not expect them to know where these statues came from. What kind of force is the Sacred Fire Seven Beasts Hall? How powerful are they? After knowing the origins of the statues, Emo Qingyun immediately asked. He wanted to know the strength of these statues. Under Emo Qingyun's question, the expressions of Han Liu and the others tensed up, fear appearing on their faces. Judging from their performance, one could guess that the strength of the Sacred Fire Seven Beasts Hall should be very strong. "Master, the Sacred Fire Seven Beasts Palace is very powerful. The seven palace lords are all sage, accomplished realm expert. Furthermore, their innate divine abilities are extremely powerful too. They also left the immortal prison. They must be hiding somewhere in the desolate continent, secretly raising their cultivation. If they condense the Saint Power Star Cluster, their strength will be even more terrifying. With our current strength, if we go and deal with them, we will only end up in a situation where both sides will suffer." Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, everyone guessed Emo Qingyun's thoughts and immediately tried to persuade Emo Qingyun. Hearing everyone's words, Emo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. He understood a lot more about the statues. They were able to track down the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan and control Ting Shao without anyone noticing. This wasn't something that an ordinary Saint Realm expert could easily achieve. "Sacred Fire Seven Beasts Hall, I hope you can hide well and don't let me see you." After knowing the origins of the statues, Emo Qingyun exuded a murderous aura and secretly made up his mind. These guys made him so miserable, how could he not retaliate? Since we know the origins of the statues, let's set off for the immortal desolate world. After informing Han Liu and the others, Emo Qingyun sent them to the Fortune mainland and continued on their journey to the immortal desolate world. The next thing to do was to build the Fortune Immortal Palace and confront the Dark Devil Clan head-on. "ZK, you control the flying boat." After instructing ZK, Emo Qingyun entered the Fortune mainland and immersed himself in cultivation. After Emo Qingyun entered the Fortune mainland, he no longer thought about it and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. In the following time, Emo Qingyun practiced the outer world's divine ability while familiarizing himself with the 10,000 transformations. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. After a month's journey, Mo Qingyun and the others finally arrived at the alchemist temple, standing outside. To Mo Qingyun's surprise, a sect had appeared in the alchemist temple ruins. Alchemist temple? When he saw the name of this sect, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was shocked by this situation. Who would have thought that the alchemist temple, which had abandoned their sect and left, would return? This really surprised him. In this way, his previous plan had been disrupted by the alchemist temple. No matter what, this sect ruins belonged to the alchemist temple. There was nothing wrong with them returning. If Huang Xiaolong insisted on taking it by force, it would be considered as robbing. Master, what do we do now? ZK and the others had long known that Mo Qingyun was going to establish the Fortune Immortal Palace in the alchemist temple ruins. Now that such an unforeseen event had occurred, it was truly unexpected. Hearing ZK's question, Mo Qingyun fell silent, pondering silently in his heart. At this time, while Mo Qingyun was pondering, several disciples from the alchemist temple approached and said in a displeased tone, "You guys, get lost immediately, don't stand here and get in the way." Impudent! Seeing these disciples' actions, ZK's face immediately darkened, and he scolded them. Under ZK's angry roar, these disciples were immediately sent flying, vomiting blood, and their faces were pale. Enemy attack, enemy attack! Being attacked by ZK's momentum, these disciples immediately panicked and shouted towards the alchemist temple. Under the shouts of these disciples, the momentum of the quasi-saint realm spread out from the alchemist temple. Then, Mo Qingyun saw several figures flying towards them at high speed. ZK, the dark demon race is attacking? These guys are really haunting us. Mo Qingyun, why is he standing with ZK? Has he submitted to the dark demon race? As soon as these people arrived, they recognized Mo Qingyun and ZK, and a look of surprise appeared on each of their faces. While everyone was shocked, their hearts were also filled with bitterness, and they were all depressed to the extreme. In their opinion, they had just rebuilt the alchemist temple. Was it going to be destroyed again? Let's go. Seeing the people from the alchemist temple come out, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment, then said to ZK and the others. He had some impression of these people in front of him. They were indeed the elders of the alchemist temple. Since the people from the alchemist temple had returned, he would give the ruins to them. Mo Qingyun's words fell, and he did not stay any longer, turning and leaving the alchemist temple. Chapter 2232. They're leaving. Seeing the actions of Mo Qingyun and the others, the people of the alchemist temple were all shocked, stunned by this scene. In their view, Mo Qingyun and the others had come to deal with the alchemist temple. Moreover, they had heard that Mo Qingyun wanted to build a sect here. Now, Mo Qingyun had directly left with his people. Wasn't this too abnormal? Mo Qingyun, this is the territory of the alchemist temple. Don't be delusional. After a short stupor, a quasi-saint elder of the alchemist temple looked at Mo Qingyun's back and said, "Also, this old man kindly reminds you that you are a peerless genius of the immortal clan. I hope you don't fall and associate yourself with a demon like Quebec." Hearing the elder's words, Mo Qingyun stopped and turned to look at him, saying, "I will remember your kindness, but I also hope you can understand that the reason no one dares to occupy this place is because of my words. Once I give up this place, the deterrence will no longer exist. You're on your own." Mo Qingyun knew very well that the alchemist temple's sudden return must have something to do with his words. If it hadn't been for what he said before, the sect ruins of the alchemist temple would have been occupied long ago. Although he knew the alchemist temple's thoughts, Mo Qingyun didn't bicker with them. It was nothing more than finding another sect territory. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the elder of the alchemist temple was speechless, unable to refute Mo Qingyun's words. Mo Qingyun was right. When they had returned here, they wanted to borrow Mo Qingyun's deterrence. Emo Qingyun dropped these words and led ZK and the others away, disappearing from the eyes of the people of the Alchemist Temple. Master, if we don't build a sect in the territory of the Alchemist Temple, where will we go next? After leaving the Temple of Alchemists, ZK asked Emo Qingyun about his plans with an inquiring expression. After hearing ZK's question, Emo Qingyun pondered for a moment and came up with a plan. He said, I just thought about it. If the immortal desolate world wants to build a solid foundation, we have to go through many tests. The immortal desolate world is not suitable. When they heard Emo Qingyun's words, ZK and the others nodded in agreement with Emo Qingyun. Only through repeated trials and tribulations would the foundation of the sect be more stable, and the space for growth in the future would also be greater. I heard that the prison wasteland domain is very chaotic. Maybe we can go there and establish a sect. Thinking of Qin 2Mo in the prison wasteland realm, Emo Qingyun's face lit up with anticipation. He planned to go there and try his luck. If the immortal palace of creation could gain a foothold there, it would mean that the immortal palace of creation's ability to survive had passed the test. Even if he had to leave the wasteland continent one day, he wouldn't have to worry anymore. Prison wasteland world? When they heard Emo Qingyun's idea, ZK and the others were all shocked. They were extremely shocked by Emo Qingyun's idea. They all knew that Emo Qingyun's purpose in establishing the immortal palace of creation was to let Qin Yun's family members gain experience. But establishing the prison wasteland world was too dangerous. Master, the prison wasteland world is too chaotic. I'm afraid that establishing the immortal palace of creation is not appropriate. Yes, why don't you reconsider? There's no need to go to such a place to train the younger generation. The immortal desolate world is very big. If it's not in the ruins of the Alchemist Temple, you can build it elsewhere. Thinking of the dangers in the prison wasteland world, everyone tried to persuade him. They felt that it was not appropriate to go to the prison wasteland world. I know what you all are thinking, but I have my own plans. In the face of everyone's persuasion, Emo Qingyun shook his head and rejected everyone's suggestion. I can't stay in the desolate mainland forever. If I leave the desolate mainland one day, they will have to learn to be independent. Only in the most difficult environment can they be trained. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, no one said anything else. They felt that Emo Qingyun's consideration was right. They were very clear that with Emo Qingyun's terrifying talent, leaving the desolate mainland was inevitable. If Qingyun Valley's people always relied on Emo Qingyun, it was obviously not possible. If Emo Qingyun left one day, they would not be able to be independent. This was a very scary thing. Alright, let's hurry. After sharing his thoughts with everyone, Emo Qingyun sent them to the Fortune mainland. Next, ZK was in charge of rushing them to the prison wasteland world. Once again entering the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation, practicing the 9 Nether God and Devil Slash. With his current strength, practicing the later moves of the 9 Nether God and Devil Slash was a piece of cake. The 9 Nether God and Devil Slash's second move, Hell Flame Slash, requires Hell Flames. In a small courtyard on the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, studying the 9 Nether God and Devil Slash chant. After studying the 9 Nether God and Devil Slash chant, Emo Qingyun tried to condense the Hell Flames energy according to the 9 Nether God and Devil Slash chant. Then, Emo Qingyun focused his mind and began to condense the Hell Flames energy outside his body. Under Emo Qingyun's guidance, gloomy and cold flames slowly gathered outside his body. Refine. After condensing the Hell Flames energy, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and began refining it. Under Emo Qingyun's refinement, the Hell Flames energy was slowly absorbed into his body. After a short while, Emo Qingyun refined the Nether Flame energy in the surroundings. He opened his eyes and raised his hand to take out the Tiger Soul. After taking out the Tiger Soul, Mo Qingyun immediately swung it and slashed at the void. Immediately, a saber gleam that emitted a terrifying chill shot out from the tiger's soul. As the saber light blasted out, a layer of purple ice immediately condensed on the surrounding vegetation. A huge crack appeared in the air, as if the void had been sliced apart. Such a powerful and domineering god art! Seeing the hell flame slash's power, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He exclaimed, "Judging from the 9 nether god and devil/s power, although it is only a saint grade, its power is comparable to a quasi-cosmic cloud state." Mo Qingyun sighed. He no longer hesitated and continued to practice the nether flame slash. In the following days, Mo Qingyun cultivated. Time always passed very quickly during cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. After 2 months of traveling, ZK finally arrived at the prison wasteland domain on the flying ship. "Master, we have arrived at the prison wasteland world." After arriving at the prison wasteland world, ZK transmitted a message to Mo Qingyun, reporting their whereabouts. Chapter 2233. Who would have thought that I would be able to cultivate the 9 nether god and devil/ to perfection this time? Exiting from his cultivation, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a smile. He was very satisfied with his harvest this time. Muttering to himself happily, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, leaving the Fortune mainland. Swoosh! A figure flashed and Mo Qingyun appeared beside ZK, storing the flying boat into the Fortune mainland. "Let's go!" Mo Qingyun looked around and flew forward, stopping beside a passerby. He asked, "Fellow Taoist, do you know how to get to the devil-slaughtering divine palace?" Devil-slaughtering divine palace? Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the passerby trembled in fear, and his expression became respectful. Seeing this person's reaction, Mo Qingyun and ZK exchanged a glance, clearly understanding the devil-slaughtering divine palace's status in the prison wasteland world. Immediately, Mo Qingyun's anticipation towards the devil-slaughtering divine palace increased. Replying to Senior, the devil-slaughtering divine palace is in the Chunyo immortal domain. You will arrive after crossing the 9-Dragon River. Under Mo Qingyun and ZK's imposing aura, the passerby did not dare to hide anything. He raised his hand and pointed at a large river in front of them. Following the direction of the person's finger, Mo Qingyun saw a winding and rugged river that looked like giant dragons spiraling there. At first glance, it looked like 9 enormous dragons entwined with one another. "Let's go." After knowing the location of the devil-slaughtering divine palace, Missouri Qingyun did not want to waste any more time and immediately flew towards the 9-Dragon River. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and ZK arrived at the 9-Dragon River and looked at the 9-Dragon River. The 9-Dragon River was very wide, and Mo Qingyun could not see the end of it. More importantly, there was a layer of terrifying black clouds above the 9-Dragon River, blocking people's vision. If someone who was not familiar with the terrain entered by mistake, it would be easy to get lost. "Looks like it's impossible to cross the 9 Dragons River by force." Mo Qingyun glanced at the 9 Dragons River and had some understanding in his heart. He did not rashly cross the 9 Dragons River. While Mo Qingyun was looking at the 9 Dragons River, a stooped old man walked up to the two of them and asked, "Are the two of you going to cross the river?" "Not bad." Mo Qingyun didn't try to hide anything from the old man. He nodded his head honestly. After hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, the old man pointed to a port not far away and said, "That's the dock for crossing the river. All the ferries on the 9 Dragon River are docked there. I'll take you there now." "Thank you, Elder." Seeing the old man's action, Mo Qingyun nodded at him and said some words of gratitude. Mo Qingyun knew that the old man was so enthusiastic because of his job. However, no matter what, the old man's actions were helpful to him. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Luo Yunyang walked into the dock under the old man's guidance. Emo Qingyun walked into the dock and saw many ships docked neatly there. These ships are of extremely high grades. They are basically upper sacred weapons. No wonder they can cross the Nine Dragons River. Seeing the ship anchored at the dock, Emo Qingyun's face revealed a look of understanding. He knew why the ship could cross the river. After leading Emo Qingyun into the dock, the old man walked up to a burly man and pointed at Emo Qingyun and Luo Yunyang. Captain Luo, I was at the mouth of the Sanyuan River just now. I saw the two of them wanting to cross the river, so I brought them here. Okay, go find little Qingzi. He will reward you. Hearing the old man's words, Captain Luo nodded and waved at the old man. After receiving Captain Luo's signal, the old man immediately nodded and said goodbye to Emo Qingyun before leaving. After the old man left, Captain Luo looked at Emo Qingyun and Luo Yunyang and said, "There are 3 types of tickets to cross the river. The lower grade tickets are 1 million lower grade celestial spirit stones, the middle grade tickets are 10 million lower grade celestial spirit stones, and the upper grade tickets are 100 million lower grade celestial spirit stones." Hearing Captain Luo's words, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He was shocked by the price. It was no different from robbery. At this moment, while Emo Qingyun was still in shock, a young man with an arrogant expression walked into the dock with his head held high. The young man's arrival immediately attracted everyone's attention. They all turned to look at him. Young Master Li Yan is here. It seems like he's going to the Chunyo Immortal Domain to do some big business. Of course, young Master Li Yan's family's Li Tian Chamber of Commerce is one of the top 10 chambers of commerce in the prison wasteland domain. If it weren't for the fact that young Master Li Yan doesn't like to take the ships of the Chamber of Commerce, it would be difficult for us to see him. If young Master Li Yan takes a fancy to us and works for him in the future, we will have a meteoric rise. Seeing young Master Li Yan coming closer, everyone showed a fawning expression. Li Yan chose to ignore their fawning actions and came to Captain Luo's side. Seeing young Master Li Yan coming closer, Captain Luo immediately showed an apologetic smile and asked, "Young Master Li Yan, how many tickets do you need this time? How many people do you need to cross the river?" "1 ticket is enough." Young Master Li Yan calmly replied to Captain Luo's question. Then, he glanced at Emo Qingyun and said with a smile, "Captain Luo, the price of your tickets is getting more and more expensive. Some of the cultivators who want to cross the river can't afford it." Hearing Li Yan's words, Captain Luo instinctively glanced at Emo Qingyun and smiled apologetically at Li Yan. "Young Master Li Yan, you must be joking. My business is small and can't be compared to your Li Tian Chamber of Commerce. What big business are you doing in the Chunyo Immortal Domain this time?" "It's not a big business, but I can still afford the fare of 100 million low-grade celestial spirit stones." Young Master Li Yan proudly replied to Captain Luo's question. Then, he looked at Emo Qingyun again. His meaning could not be more obvious. He was clearly mocking Emo Qingyun. Seeing young Master Li Yan's action, Emo Qingyun frowned and faintly felt displeased. However, Emo Qingyun did not pay attention to him. He turned his head and looked at Captain Luo, preparing to buy 2 first-class tickets. When Emo Qingyun was about to buy the ticket, young Master Li Yan laughed mockingly. He raised his head at Emo Qingyun and said, "Kid, if the 2 of you can't afford the fare, I can give you a suggestion. Tell me." Hearing Li Yan's words, Emo Qingyun showed interest. He wanted to see what kind of trick young Master Li Yan was playing. When he heard Emo Qingyun's reply, the smile on Li Yan's face grew wider, and he said, "I just happen to need 2 attendants on my trip to Chunyo Immortal Region. If the 2 of you are willing to serve me for a year, then I can pay for the passage." Chapter 2234. These 2 fellows are really lucky. They actually got the recognition of young Master Li Yan. Yeah. As long as they do well for young Master Li Yan, they might be able to work for the departing Heaven Chamber of Commerce. Even if they can't work for the departing Heaven Chamber of Commerce, getting 1 million immortal spirit stones a year is not a bad thing. Everyone looked envious as they whispered to each other. Under everyone's envious gaze, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "Thank you for your kind intentions, but it's impossible for me to work for you for 1 year." Hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, everyone's eyes widened. They thought they heard wrong. Mo Qingyun rejected such a thing. This was really too stupid. Hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, Li Yan was also stunned. He was surprised by Mo Qingyun's decision. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun would accept his suggestion without hesitation. Interesting. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Li Yan revealed a mocking expression. He looked at Mo Qingyun with a sneer and said, "Maybe you didn't hear me clearly. The ticket I mentioned just now is not an ordinary ticket. It's a first-class ticket worth 100 million immortal spirit stones." Hearing Li Yan's words, everyone's expression changed again. They were even more envious of Mo Qingyun. Young Master Li Yan is indeed young Master Li Yan. His actions are really different. Hearing young Master Li Yan's words, these two must be very regretful. 100 million immortal spirit stones. Not to mention 1 year, even if it's 10 years, I'll do it. Everyone began to discuss among themselves. Under everyone's comments, young Master Li Yan revealed a look of disdain. He curled his lips at Mo Qingyun and said, "It's a pity that you missed such an opportunity. Not only will you not be able to sit in the first-class cabin, you will also miss the chance to cross the river." Hearing Li Yan's words, everyone immediately showed a look of pity. They felt sorry for Mo Qingyun and Li Yan. How could they miss such a good opportunity? "You seem to be thinking too much." Under the regretful gazes of the crowd, Mo Qingyun shook his head at the banquet and said indifferently, "It's only 100 million celestial spirit stones. I can still afford such a small amount of money." He didn't believe Mo Qingyun's words. He felt that Mo Qingyun was just boasting. Under the questioning gaze of Li Yan, Mo Qingyun glanced at him and said with a smile, "I'm going to the devil-slaughtering divine palace. If you're willing to be my guide, I'll pay for your ticket. Remember, a first-class cabin worth 100 million low-grade celestial spirit stones." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Li Yan's face turned ugly. He felt that Mo Qingyun was humiliating him. "Brat, do you know the consequences of speaking to me like that?" Li Yan's face darkened as he glared at Mo Qingyun. He questioned Mo Qingyun. Seeing Li Yan's behavior, the surrounding people tensed up and looked at Mo Qingyun with sympathy. This brat really doesn't know life from death. He actually dares to provoke young Master Li Yan. This brat just said that he's going to the devil-slaughtering divine palace. Maybe he has some background. You believe that? He clearly said it on purpose to challenge young Master Li Yan. I can almost imagine the scene of their corpses on the street. In everyone's opinion, with Li Yan's powerful status, killing Mo Qingyun would be too easy. Under the gaze of the crowd, Li Yan sneered and said, "Captain Luo, immediately tell all the captains not to carry these two people. I owe you face for this." "Okay, I'll go tell them now." Hearing Li Yan's words, Captain Luo immediately nodded and went to tell Li Yan. Seeing Li Yan's behavior, the crowd immediately sighed and sympathized with Mo Qingyun even more. "Who told you that if you don't ferry me across the river, I can't cross the river?" Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and sneered at Li Yan, then walked to the side. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, the crowd was puzzled. They didn't know what Mo Qingyun was going to do. Under the gaze of the crowd, Mo Qingyun took out refining materials and piled them up in an orderly manner beside him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, the crowd was stunned and even more puzzled. What is this brat doing? Is he going to sell everything he has? Hey! The materials that this brat took out seem to be very rare. That's fire-bearing black iron, a material for refining saint artifacts. It's worth hundreds of millions of top-grade immortal spirit stones. It's so valuable. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Look, that brat seems to be refining. Is he a saint-level equipment refiner? A saint-level equipment refiner is an extremely noble figure. His status is not inferior to young Master Li Yan's. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the crowd was immediately stunned and felt that their brains were not enough to process it. Compared to the shock of the crowd, Li Yan was also shocked. He stared at Mo Qingyun with his eyes wide open. Humph! I don't believe that you can refine a saint artifact ship. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Li Yan smiled contemptuously and comforted himself. After Li Yan's words, he sat silently aside and quietly observed Mo Qingyun. After a while, Captain Luo, who was delivering the message for Li Yan, reported back to the dock. Refining a saint artifact ship? Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Captain Luo also had the same expression on his face and silently watched from the side. Then, as if time had stopped, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun with rapt attention. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's performance at the moment had shocked them. Under everyone's gaze, the ship was becoming more and more complete, and they could basically see the prototype. The ship is about to be completed. He's really a saint-level equipment refiner. I really couldn't tell that at his age. He's actually a saint-level equipment refiner. It seems that he wasn't bragging when he said that he was going to the demon-slaughtering divine palace. Refining a saint-level ship to cross the river, I give full marks for this show-off. It's more than full marks, it's the most successful show-off in the history of the prison wasteland realm. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, everyone sighed and admired Mo Qingyun. Just like this, a few days passed. Under everyone's nervous gaze, the ship was successfully refined, and the grade reached the level of a middle-grade saint artifact. It's only at the level of a middle-grade saint artifact, it's a pity. The first refinement is indeed a little lacking. Seeing the grade of the ship he refined, Mo Qingyun shook his head regretfully, feeling a little disappointed. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone immediately smiled bitterly, completely convinced by Mo Qingyun. Brother, once you start showing off, you can't stop at all. The first time you refined a saint artifact ship, it reached the level of a middle-grade saint artifact, and you're still not satisfied. Chapter 2235. Since it's made at the Nine Dragons River, let's call it the Nine Dragons. Looking at the refined boat, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat and he gave it a name. Seeing that the boat was finished, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any more time. He scanned the crowd and said, "Is there anyone familiar with the way? If you're willing to show me the way, I can carry you across the river." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people's expressions changed. They were tempted. If they could cross the river with Mo Qingyun, not only would they save a lot of immortal spirit stones, they could also use the opportunity to befriend Mo Qingyun. This could be said to be killing two birds with one stone. With Mo Qingyun's identity as a saint-level craftsman, if they could successfully befriend him, it would be a very good thing. "Sir, this old man is willing to show you the way. This old man has crossed the Nine Dragons River hundreds of times. Sir, there are many fierce monsters in the Nine Dragons River. This old man will escort you across the river. This one is good at controlling boat. If you trust me, I can control the boat for you." In a moment, everyone volunteered to curry favor with Mo Qingyun. Seeing everyone's actions, Li Yan's face turned ugly. He felt like he was slapped hard in the face. He really didn't expect Mo Qingyun to be a saint-level craftsman. This was unexpected. More importantly, with Mo Qingyun's identity as a saint-level craftsman, he couldn't do anything to Mo Qingyun. He knew very well that a young saint-level craftsman like Mo Qingyun must have extraordinary power behind him. Once he killed Mo Qingyun, it would be like poking a hornet's nest and causing a lot of trouble for the departing Heaven Merchant Association. But he couldn't just let it go like this. He had to teach Mo Qingyun a lesson. It's only the prototype of the boat. It's not certain if it can cross the river. Seeing that everyone was surrounding Emo Qingyun, Li Yan spoke in a strange tone, mocking Emo Qingyun. Hearing this, everyone's enthusiasm immediately dropped a bit, and some worry appeared on their faces. Even those who had tried to curry favor with Emo Qingyun at the beginning showed expressions of regret. Obviously, they were worried about what they had said at the banquet. "Young master," this old man suddenly remembered that I still have something to take care of. "I'm afraid I won't be able to cross the river with you." This old man also forgot to buy something. "I have to leave this place immediately. I'm really sorry." "Young master, my aunt is going to give birth in a few days. I have to go back immediately." For a time, all kinds of lame excuses came out from the mouths of some people. Seeing these people's actions, Li Yan revealed a complacent sneer and said, "That's right. Don't lose your little lives just because you want to save some fees." As soon as the words left the banquet, a few people showed hesitation on their faces. Not long after, these people also used various excuses to express their unwillingness to cross the river again. Although the majority of people had left, there were still a few people who had resolute expressions on their faces. Looking at the few people who stayed, Emo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and turned to look at Li Yan with a faint smile. "Thank you for your words. You've given them a test and made some of those flattering fellows reveal their true colors one by one." When he heard Emo Qingyun's words, Li Yan's expression immediately stiffened and became unsightly. His original intention in saying those words wasn't to help Emo Qingyun test everyone. Emo Qingyun didn't pay attention to Li Yan's speechlessness. He turned to look at the remaining people and said, "In that case, let's set off." As soon as Emo Qingyun's words fell, he walked towards the Nine Dragons River and tossed the 9 dragons into the river. As soon as the 9 dragons left Emo Qingyun's hands, it began to expand rapidly and turned into a huge ship in the blink of an eye. At first glance, the ship was about 100 meters high and more than 1,000 meters long. Seeing the huge change in the ship, the surrounding people were shocked by the scene in front of them. Apart from other things, just judging from the size of the ship, Emo Qingyun's ship was much more domineering. Young master is really talented. In just a few days, he has refined such a precious sacred weapon. We'll drive young master's ship across the river. It will definitely be smooth sailing. Those guys who don't have their own opinions will definitely regret it when the time comes. While everyone was talking and laughing, they entered the 9 dragons together. "Let's set off." After Emo Qingyun and the others entered the 9 dragons, everyone started their own duties and began to drive the 9 dragons forward. Seeing that Emo Qingyun and the others had left, Captain Luo didn't want to waste any time and immediately said to the crowd in a deep voice, "Everyone, it's getting late. Let's set off." Hearing Captain Luo's words, some people who had bought tickets followed him and set off. Perhaps because Captain Luo was more familiar with the ship, their departure speed was obviously much faster than Emo Qingyun and the others. Not long after, Captain Luo's ship far surpassed Emo Qingyun's ship. After leaving Emo Qingyun and the others behind, Captain Luo stood on the chopping board and smiled proudly. "Boy, at this speed, I'm afraid you won't reach the other side even if you use it for 100 years. Emo Qingyun didn't care about the mockery at the departure banquet at all. He frowned slightly and glanced around. The resistance of the river is very strong. It's really too slow to rely on the ship's own buoyancy. Emo Qingyun carefully observed for a while. He had a plan and knew what to do. Following that, Emo Qingyun took out the materials needed to set up the formation. He wanted to set up a power formation to increase the speed of the 9 dragons so that they could reach the other side of the 9 dragons faster. Emo Qingyun condensed sacred runes and skillfully inserted them into the formation materials, stabilizing each position of the 9 dragons. Mr. Emo was setting up a formation? He was also a formation master? Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, everyone was shocked. They were stunned by Mo Qingyun's performance. Mr. Mo is really a genius. He's also good at formations. When Mr. Mo's formation is set up, our speed will definitely skyrocket. When we overtake young Master Li Yan, they will be dumbfounded. While the few of them were talking at once, they all revealed looks of anticipation. A few days later, the formation was finally set up under everyone's expectations. With the completion of the formation, the 9 dragons' speed immediately skyrocketed several times. Seeing that the 9 dragons' speed had greatly increased, Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction and said, "Since there are powerful monsters in the 9 dragons river, then set up a defensive formation and an offensive formation. It will be easier to expel the monsters." With this idea in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and threw himself into the formation again. Chapter 2236. About 10 days later, Mo Qingyun stopped what he was doing. After 10 days of continuous setting up, the 2 formations were finally completed. After setting up the formations, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately activated them. Immediately, 2 imposing light screens appeared on the 9 dragon. Seeing the light screens on the 9 dragon, the people accompanying them were all shocked and even more submissive to Mo Qingyun. They could all feel that the 2 formations set up by Mo Qingyun were both high-grade saint formations. At this moment, they all felt lucky that they didn't give up on the trip. With Mo Qingyun's means, how could the ship he refined not be able to cross the 9 dragons river? At this moment, while everyone was still shocked by Mo Qingyun's means, a ship appeared in front of them. It was the ship that Li Yan and the others were on. "Look, that's Captain Luo's ship. They've caught up with them. Hey, they seem to be surrounded by demonic beasts and can't move forward. That's the heaven-climbing demon octopus. It'll be a big headache if we get entangled by them. Mr. Mo, let's turn around quickly. Don't let the heaven-climbing demon octopus entangle us." Seeing the situation of the Li Banquet and the others, everyone was shocked, and panic appeared on their faces. In response to everyone's persuasion, Mo Qingyun curled the corner of his mouth and said with a playful look, "Don't turn around. Speed up and crash into them." "Crash into them?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone almost fainted. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's idea. He's going to cause trouble. Although they were shocked by Mo Qingyun's decision, they didn't go against it. They immediately acted according to Mo Qingyun's instructions. While everyone was speeding up, Mo Qingyun activated the 3 formations on the 9 dragon to the extreme. Suddenly, a shocking aura burst out from the 9 dragon. Then, the 9 dragon turned into a stream of light and crashed into Captain Luo's ship. As Mo Qingyun's ship approached, Li Yan and the others quickly discovered it and were all frightened. "Damn it, it's that guy's ship. They've caught up. They seem to have set up several formations on their ship to strengthen it. Oh no, they're going to crash into us. Is this guy crazy? Stop! Stop!" Seeing Mo Qingyun's ship getting closer and closer, Li Yan and the others were all panicked and shouted. However, their shouts were completely powerless. They were completely useless. Boom! The 2 ships collided with each other and immediately exploded with a loud bang, stirring up a stormy sea. Under Mo Qingyun's charge, all the giant sky-climbing demonic octopuses around him were sent flying. As for Li Yan and the other's ship, they were drenched in water's ship. Then, Li Yan flew out of the river in a sorry state. Looking at Li Yan and the others flying out of the river, Mo Qingyun stopped the ship and walked leisurely to the deck. He said, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Why did the ship capsize halfway?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the people on the 9 dragon could not help laughing. "Big brother, can you act any more like it? It's obviously you who did this, okay? Boy, you've gone too far." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Li Yan was so angry that his face turned green and he gnashed his teeth. He naturally knew that Mo Qingyun did this deliberately. Mo Qingyun did not care about Li Yan's anger at all. He said indifferently, Oh, the ship has capsized. If you want to cross the Nine-Dragon River, you won't be able to do it without 100 years. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the people on the Nine-Dragon did not know whether to laugh or cry. They understood why Emo Qingyun had bumped into the ship. At this moment, the way they looked at Emo Qingyun changed drastically. Originally, the gentle Emo Qingyun in their impression was just a facade. Boy, don't be so smug. This place is surrounded by heaven-climbing demon octopuses. You can forget about crossing it. In response to Emo Qingyun's sarcastic words, Li Yan's face darkened and he retorted unhappily. Is that so? Hearing Li Yan's words, the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled into a smile. A playful expression appeared on his face as he said, "Then open your eyes wide and watch how we cut through the heaven-climbing demon octopus like a hot knife through butter." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he ignored Li Yan and the others and activated the formation again. Suddenly, a terrifying aura erupted from the Nine-Dragon ship. Swoosh, 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 waves of terrifying saint power turned into streaks of sword radiance and swept around the Nine-Dragon ship. Under the overbearing sweep of the sword radiance, some heaven-climbing demon octopuses that wanted to get close had their tentacles cut off. Seeing the power of the Nine-Dragon ship, the surrounding heaven-climbing demon octopuses immediately retreated. Seeing this, Li Yan and the others were dumbfounded. They could not believe it was true. The heaven-climbing demon octopuses retreated? Am I seeing this right? This ship is awesome. It's a giant slaughtering ship. Crossing the river on this ship is the real carefree way. What a loss. If I had known, I wouldn't have gone back on my word and crossed the river with that young master. This young master is a peerless genius. He can refine such a powerful ship so casually. Boy, this isn't over yet. I'll settle it with you slowly. Seeing the Nine-Dragon ship getting farther and farther away, Li Yan and the others were in a bad mood. While Li Yan and the others were talking, Captain Luo straightened the ship and turned to Li Yan and the others. Everyone, since the heaven-climbing demon octopuses have been driven away, let's continue our journey. Hearing Captain Luo's words, Li Yan and the others went back to the ship with uncertain expressions. Under the fierce collision of the Nine-Dragon ship, Captain Luo's ship was obviously badly damaged and slowed down a lot. Fortunately, they had traveled more than half of the way, or they would be in real trouble. A few days later, while Li Yan and the others were traveling slowly, Emo Qingyun and the others arrived at the other side of the Nine-Dragon ship. Arriving at the other side of the Nine-Dragon ship, everyone got off the ship and respectfully thanked Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun nodded indifferently at their gratitude and asked, "Everyone, do you know how to get to the demon-slaying palace?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, everyone was immediately excited and wanted to lead the way for Emo Qingyun and Li Yan. After interacting with each other along the way, they had realized that Emo Qingyun's identity was not simple. If they could be appreciated by him, it would be much better than following Li Yan. Looking at their actions, Emo Qingyun nodded at them and said, "In that case, I'll have to trouble you to take me to the demon-slaying palace." Chapter 2237. A few hours later. With the crowd leading the way, Emo Qingyun arrived at a huge mountain range. He saw many peaks that reached into the clouds. As far as the eye could see, he could vaguely see a huge palace built on top of the mountain. If he wasn't mistaken, the palace on top of the mountain should be where the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace was located. Mr. Emo, besides the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace, there are 4 other great powers on the Demon Slaughter Mountain Range. Standing in front of the Demon Slaughter Mountain Range, an elder pointed at the peaks and briefly explained, "The 4 great powers are the Moon Demon Sect, the Frost Demon Sect, the Cloud Demon Sect, and the War Demon Sect. They are all subordinate powers of the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace." After listening to the elder's explanation, Emo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. He now had a better understanding of the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace. Mr. Mo, the tallest peak in the Demon Slaughter mountain range is where the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace is located. After a brief introduction of the Demon Slaughter mountain range, the crowd led Mo Qingyun to the peak of the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace. After a short while, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace. At the entrance of the Demon Slaying Divine Palace, there were two huge stone statues, holding up a huge signboard. On the signboard, there were 4 large words carved in flamboyant calligraphy: Demon Slaughter Divine Palace. It seems like the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace is stronger than I thought. After briefly sizing up the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace, Missouri Qingyun didn't hesitate and immediately walked in. Halt. Unauthorized people are not allowed to enter the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace. When they saw Mo Qingyun and the others approaching, the disciples guarding the entrance scolded them with displeased expressions. Hearing the disciples' words, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time with them. He immediately took out a small knife and said, "This is a token from Demon Slaughter Qin. Help me pass on the message that Mo Qingyun is here to visit him." This is indeed a token from the palace master. Seeing the small knife in Mo Qingyun's hand, the disciples guarding the mountain were shocked. Their expressions changed as they looked at Mo Qingyun. Then, one of them immediately entered the gate and passed on the news of Mo Qingyun's arrival. After a short while, a familiar figure appeared in Mo Qingyun's sight. This person was Demon Slaughter Qin. "Little guy, what brings you here? What a rare guest." Qin Slaughter Qin came in front of Mo Qingyun and greeted Mo Qingyun's face. When Qin 2 Mo saw ZK, his eyes widened in shock. "You seem to be the Dark Demon race's sacred ancestor ZK?" ZK was also surprised by Qin Slaughter Qin's words. He didn't expect the other party to recognize him. After saying that, ZK's emotions calmed down. He replied in a flat tone, "I don't know if the Dark Demon race will attack the Prison Wasteland domain. I came to the Prison Wasteland domain mainly to accompany Master." As soon as ZK's words left his mouth, everyone revealed shocked expressions as they stared at Mo Qingyun with wide eyes. "Master? Is Mo Qingyun ZK's master? Master? You recognized this kid as your master?" At this moment, Qin 2 Mo felt his thoughts become a little messy. He knew what kind of person ZK was. He was from the same generation as him. For someone of ZK's status to recognize Mo Qingyun as his master was a little shocking. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Divine Ancestor ZK, this old man is the divine ancestor of the Dark Demon race. I didn't expect such an expert to be Mr. Mo's subordinate. This is too scary. Mr. Mo's identity is so powerful. Compared to him, Surly Yen is like a pile of dog shit. Surly Yen is ridiculous. He wants to challenge Mr. Mo? It's like a firefly trying to compete with the moon. After knowing ZK's powerful identity, everyone's respect for Mo Qingyun immediately became stronger. At the same time, their disdain for the leaving banquet became even more intense. "Kid, since you've come to the Prison Wasteland domain, I'm afraid the Prison Wasteland domain will become very lively." After a short moment of surprise, Qin Slaughter Qin showed an expectant expression and joked to Mo Qingyun. He had heard some things about Mo Qingyun and knew some of Mo Qingyun's shocking actions. "Okay, everyone, come inside with me and sit down. We'll talk slowly." After exchanging a few pleasantries with Mo Qingyun, Qin Slaughter Demon made a gesture of invitation and led everyone into the inner hall. Under Qin Slaughter Demon's lead, the expressions of those who followed the ship all became tense. If it weren't for Mo Qingyun, with their status, they wouldn't have been received by Qin Slaughter Demon. After a while, under Qin Slaughter Demon's lead, everyone entered the meeting hall. "Kid, what are your plans for coming to the Prison Wasteland domain this time?" Sitting at the top of the hall, Qin's slaughter demon had a curious expression and immediately asked Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, with Mo Qingyun's personality, he wouldn't have come to the prison wasteland domain if there was no reason. More importantly, Mo Qingyun came with people like ZK. This was obviously the rhythm of a fierce dragon crossing the river. Under Qin's slaughter demon's inquiry, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and said, "To be honest with Senior, Junior came to the prison wasteland domain this time because I want to establish a sect. I wonder if Senior has any good suggestions? For example, where is a suitable sect territory? Establish a sect." Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, Qin's slaughter demon couldn't help but be shocked and looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise. Although he guessed that Mo Qingyun definitely didn't come to the prison wasteland domain to sightsee. But when he heard Mo Qingyun's intention, he couldn't help but be shocked. He was shocked by Mo Qingyun's plan. Just as he thought, Mo Qingyun came to the prison wasteland domain this time really like a fierce dragon crossing the river. It's just that no one knows how muddy the waters of the prison wasteland domain will be for this fierce dragon. Qin's slaughter demon hesitated for a moment, then had an idea. He smiled faintly at Mo Qingyun and said, "Kid, you just came to the prison wasteland domain. If you rashly establish a force, it will inevitably trigger the interests of many forces. This will cause a lot of trouble." Mo Qingyun nodded, expressing his agreement with Qin's slaughter demon's words. Seeing that Mo Qingyun agreed with his point of view, Qin's slaughter demon smiled faintly and said, "In my slaughter demon mountain range, there are many abandoned mountains. You can choose a mountain and set up your sect here first. This way, I can take care of you a little. When you have a firm foothold, it won't be too late to move your sect territory." Chapter 2238. In that case, I'll have to trouble you, Senior. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and accepted Qin Tulu's good intentions. He decided to build a sect in the Demon Fall mountain range. Qin Tulu nodded in satisfaction at Mo Qingyun's acceptance. He turned to a gray-robed elder beside him. "Elder Qinde, go gather the leaders of the 4 great sects and have them come here to discuss this matter." "Yes." The gray-robed elder complied and left to pass on the message to the leaders of the 4 great sections. After giving the gray-robed elder his instructions, Qin Tulu looked at Mo Qingyun and asked curiously, "Little guy, since you want to build a sect, have you thought of a name? Do you need this old man to think of one for you?" "I've already thought of one." Mo Qingyun nodded and answered truthfully, "The sect I want to build is called the Immortal Palace of Creation." "Immortal Palace?" Qin Tulu frowned at Mo Qingyun's answer, seemingly dissatisfied. "Little guy, this place is under the influence of the demonic sections. It doesn't seem right for you to give it the name of an immortal palace. How about you change it to the Creation Demonic Sect?" Mo Qingyun's expression froze. He was so shocked by Qin Tulu's words that he didn't know how to respond. He hadn't expected Qin Tumo to request that he change the sect's name. Qin Tulu laughed heartily at Mo Qingyun's reaction. He waved his hand at Mo Qingyun. "Little guy, this old man was just joking with you. Don't take it to heart. You decide what name you want to give your sect. Thank you for your understanding, Senior." Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's expression improved a bit and he cupped his hands towards Qin Tulu. Otherwise, Qin Tulu's insistence on changing the sect's name would have made things difficult for him. If it really didn't work, he would have to find another place to build the Immortal Palace of Creation. The group chatted as they waited for the representatives of the 4 great sects to arrive. About an hour later, 4 groups of people rushed into the main hall. They were the people from the 4 major powers. "Greetings, Palace Master Qin." When everyone arrived at the conference hall, they immediately bowed respectfully to Qin Tumo. After bowing to Qin Tumo, everyone found a place to sit down and waited for Qin Tumo's instructions. Seeing that everyone had sat down, Qin Tumo pointed at Mo Qingyun and introduced him to everyone. "Everyone, This is my little friend, the peerless genius of the heavenly soul demon race, Emo Qingyun. He wants to establish a force in the prison wasteland domain. I asked him to build his sect in the Demon Fall mountain range. You have to take care of him in the future." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, everyone's expression changed and they all looked at Emo Qingyun. He is actually Emo Qingyun, the peerless genius of the heavenly soul demon race. I didn't expect him to come to the prison wasteland domain and build a sect in the Demon Fall mountain range. This kid is not a good person. Since he came to the Demon Fall mountain range, he will not be willing to be at ease. It seems that from now on, there will be another competitor in the Demon Fall mountain range. Hearing Qin Tu Mo's introduction, everyone immediately looked at Emo Qingyun with a strong sense of vigilance. Evidently, they hadn't listened to Qin Tulu's instructions. In their eyes, Emo Qingyun was a new competitor, so they had to be on guard. After introducing Emo Qingyun to everyone, Qin Tu Mo introduced Emo Qingyun to the others, introducing Emo Qingyun one by one. Under Qin Tu Mo's introduction, Emo Qingyun had a general understanding of the sect masters of the four major sections. The sect master of the Moon Demon sect, Yu-Ji, was an enchanting woman who always gave people a sense of charm, making it impossible to see her thoughts. The sect master of the Frost Demon sect, Yang Mo, was a silent middle-aged man who had been sitting in the same place without saying a word. The sect master of the Cloud Demon sect, Lei Rui, was a benevolent-looking old man. His personality was the opposite of the sect master of the Frost Demon sect, always smiling. The sect master of the War Demon sect, Pang Chao, was a burly man who gave people a very rough feeling. After knowing the identity of these people, Emo Qingyun nodded to them as a simple greeting. After introducing everyone to each other, Qin Tu Mo's expression became serious. He glanced at the four sect masters and hurriedly said, "Because Qingyun has just come to the prison wasteland domain and does not have any resources or territory, it will not be easy for him to build a sect. As seniors, the four of you should help him." Hearing Qin Tu Mo's words, the faces of Yu-Ji and the others immediately became a little ugly. But Emo Qingyun was surprised after hearing this and couldn't help but feel grateful to Qin Tu Mo. He didn't expect that Qin Tu Mo had gathered the four of them here to fight for cultivation resources for him. If he could get a few cultivation resources, the Fortune Immortal Palace would have more foundation and be able to stabilize its footing faster. It had to be said that Qin Tu Mo's actions were well-intentioned and would be of great help to Emo Qingyun. Thinking of this, Emo Qingyun nodded at Qin Tu Mo and cast a grateful look. Little brother Emo has come to the Demon Fall mountain range to build a sect. We will be a family in the future, it is indeed necessary to help. Lei Rui was silent for a moment and took the lead to break the silence. With an indifferent expression, he said, "Since Palace Master Qin has spoken, this old man naturally cannot be stingy. I will give the ice spiritual crystal mine in the northwest region to little brother Mo. Even old brother Lei Rui has taken action, this little sister naturally cannot be stingy." Yu-Ji giggled when she saw Lei Rui's actions. She winked at Emo Qingyun and said, "Little brother Mo, big sister has a silver mother-of-pearl iron mine in the southern district. It'll be your personal property from now on. The Purple Dawn firewood forest in the east will be yours in the future." Yang Mo didn't say much and also gave up a cultivation resource land of his to Emo Qingyun. Seeing that everyone had given up their cultivation resource lands, Pang Chao's expression flickered, as if he was reluctant to give up his resource land. Pang Chao hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and made a difficult decision. "Since everyone has given up their resource lands, I will not give up mine. I will give little brother Mo something else. I will give you 10,000 divine elixirs and 1,000,000 immortal elixirs." 10,000 divine elixirs and 1,000,000 immortal elixirs? Seeing Pang Chao's offer, everyone frowned and their eyes flashed with disdain. This guy was really stingy. As long as he wasn't an idiot, he would clearly know that the value of his offer was too low. Elixirs were just consumables, once used up, they would be gone. Cultivation resource lands were different. As long as the mining method was right, they would continuously produce cultivation resources. Chapter 2239. Sect Master Pang Chao, you're really generous. Seeing Pang Chao's actions, Lei Rui ridiculed him and said, everyone knows that your battle demon sect is the strongest, and your foundation is also the thickest. How about you give us a piece of resource land, as well as the things you just mentioned? Old Lei Yu, hearing Lei Rui's words, Pang Chao's face twitched and he almost jumped up in anger. Even if his fighting demon sect had a rich foundation, he couldn't afford to give away resources like this. While Pang Chao was enraged, Qin Tuimo nodded and ordered Pang Chao, in that case, the Battle Demon sect will give Qin Yun the Immortal Rain Field and the things sect Master Pang just mentioned. Hearing Qin Tulu's words, Pang Chao immediately revealed a pained expression. The others were also shocked. Clearly, the things Qin Tulu mentioned were of extraordinary value. Sect Master Qin, our fighting demon sect's foundation is shallow. If you give them to us, we'll be wasting 1,000 years of savings. After a brief moment of shock, Pang Chao showed a pained expression and hurriedly begged Qin Tulu. Qin Tulu's attitude didn't change. He comforted Pang Chao, Sect Master Pang, you have to look at the long term. You can't just look at the immediate benefits. You've helped Qin Yun today, and you'll definitely repay several times over in the future. But Pang Chao was still unwilling to accept Qin Tulu's persuasion. He wanted to continue fighting. However, before Pang Chao could finish, Qin Tulu raised his hand and interrupted him. Okay, this matter is decided. If you don't have anything else, you can all leave. Yes. Hearing Qin Tulu's words, Pang Chao and the others nodded and left one after another. Seeing Pang Chao and the others leave, Mo Qinyun showed a dignified expression. He looked at Qin Tulu and asked, Senior, you're forcibly transferring their resource land to me. Isn't this a little inappropriate? Qin Tuimo seemed to have expected Mo Qinyun to ask such a question. Little fellow, you don't have to worry about this. They won't dare to have any objections to this old man's arrangements. You can rest assured and accept them. Hearing this, Mo Qinyun didn't say anything else and followed Qin Tuimo's arrangements. Mo Qinyun chatted with Qin Tulu for a bit more before leaving the hall. Exiting the main hall, Mo Qinyun directly left the Devil Slaughter Divine Palace and went to choose a mountain peak to build his sect. After Mo Qinyun left, Qinda walked out with a puzzled expression. Palace Lord, what talent does this Mo Qinyun have that you value him so much? Hearing Qinda's question, Qin Tuimo smiled faintly. He's very capable. Lei Rui and the others couldn't compare to him before. You'll know in the future. Qinda was taken aback by Qin Tulu's answer. After a moment of shock, Qinda was puzzled. Since Mo Qinyun is so capable, why don't you let him fight for the resource lands? Why give him a resource land? Let him fight for it. Qin Tuimo shook his head with a faint smile. You don't know. If we let him fight for it, then it'll be a real disaster. None of the 4 demonic sects will be left unscathed. Hiss! Hearing Qin Tuimo's words, Qinda immediately sucked in a breath of cold air, a look of lingering fear on his face. He could tell that Qin Tuimo wasn't joking. It was clear that Mo Qinyun was very capable. The 4 demonic sects have been getting more and more out of hand these past few years. Do they think I don't know about their little tricks? Under Qinda's shocked gaze, Qin Tuimo explained simply. The main reason I let Qinyun stay is to use Qinyun to teach them a lesson and make them restrain themselves. Qinda understood Qin Tuimo's true intentions. So that was the main reason Qin Tuimo let Mo Qinyun stay. Little guy, you don't fear others with your strength, but your disciples aren't. Thinking of Mo Qinyun wanting to establish a sect, Qin 2Mo couldn't help but sigh with anticipation. The 4 demonic sects are a test for you. If you can easily deal with them, then you have the right to establish yourself here. Mo Qingyun naturally didn't know that Qin 2Mo wanted him to stay behind. One had to admit that Qin 2Mo had put a lot of thought into this. After leaving the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace, Missouri Qingyun took everyone on a tour of the Demon Slaughter mountain range. The spiritual energy here is the most abundant. It's the most suitable place to establish a sect. After touring the Demon Slaughter mountain range, Mo Qingyun chose a mountain peak and flew down. After a while, everyone arrived at the peak and looked around. Mo Qingyun scanned the surroundings and looked at the others. He said in a deep voice, "Everyone, thank you for being my guide. If you encounter any trouble in the future, I can lend you a hand." "Thank you, Mr. Mo." "Mr. Mo, this old man has a presumptuous request. Can I stay in your sect? This old man is very familiar with the prison wasteland domain. I can help you gather some information." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone looked expectant, hoping to stay. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun was slightly stunned. He was a little surprised. He didn't expect that these people would want to stay and work for him in the future. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he found that these people's characters were very good. It was not impossible to let them all stay and handle some external affairs in the future. "In that case, you can stay. In the future, help me handle some mundane affairs and manage some of the sect's business." Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and made a decision. He agreed to let these people stay by his side. Hearing Mo Qingyun's tacit approval, everyone's faces lit up with joy, and their expressions became excited. From the way Mo Qingyun treated Mo Qingyun, they could see that Qin 2 was definitely not an ordinary person. If he could follow by Mo Qingyun's side, it would definitely be a great fortune. After agreeing to let everyone stay by his side, Mo Qingyun said to them, "Lu Kong, here are 100 billion low-grade celestial spirit stones. Go to the nearest city immediately and buy a big shop. I may need it in the future." Seeing Mo Qingyun make a move, everyone's expression immediately changed, and they became even more reverent towards Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2240. Lu Kong was the strongest among them, at the middle stage of the false saint realm. After taking the immortal spirit stones from Mo Qingyun, Lu Kong did not dare to delay and immediately left with everyone. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had accepted his fate, everyone immediately followed Lu Kong and left. They could all see that Mo Qingyun's intention was to let them follow Lu Kang's lead. After instructing Lu Kong and the others, Mo Qingyun summoned Shuelong and the others and prepared to cultivate the mountain gate of the immortal palace of creation. Soon, Udihai and the others were summoned and appeared one by one beside Mo Qingyun. "Everyone, we have arrived at the prison wasteland domain. This is the place to build the sect." After summoning everyone, Mo Qingyun began to instruct everyone. "ZK, lead everyone to the cultivation palace. Shuelong, Yin Peng, when you follow me to set up the sect protection array." "Yes." Everyone nodded and immediately divided the work. Under ZK and the others' hands, the mountain peak was immediately cut out to make it easier to build the palace on it. As for Mo Qingyun and the other 3, they scattered in 4 directions of the mountain peak and quickly condensed saint inscriptions. Under the hands of Mo Qingyun and the others, the speed of the construction of the sect was extremely fast, and there were soon some embryonic forms. As the outline of the sect was built, Mo Qingyun summoned the disciples of the immortal palace of creation and asked them to continue to perfect the details of the palace. Time passed very quickly while everyone was building the mountain gate. Half a month later, under the efforts of Mo Qingyun and the others, the immortal palace of creation was completely built and its scale was not inferior to the demon-slaying divine palace. In addition, under the joint efforts of Mo Qingyun and the others, the sect protection array was even stronger than the demon-slaying divine palace. Of course, no one else knew about all this. They did not expect Mo Qingyun to have such an ability. After the construction of the immortal palace of creation was completed, Mo Qingyun moved all the disciples of the immortal palace of creation out. Master, the construction of the immortal palace of creation has been completed. What should we do next? Seeing that the immortal palace of creation was completed, ZK asked Mo Qingyun about his future plans with an inquiring expression. Under ZK's inquiry, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said with a playful expression, "The next thing to do is naturally to collect the resource lands. In the past half a month, the 4 demon sects have not done anything. Do you think I have forgotten? Since they don't know what's good for them, then don't blame us for being impolite." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK's expression immediately turned cold and his body emitted killing intent. He was the dark demon race's divine ancestor and was known for his ruthless methods. Naturally, he would not waste his breath on the 4 demon sects. In his opinion, violence was always more effective than reasoning. If he could fight, he would try his best not to quarrel. Udihai, gather some disciples and follow me to the war demon sect. As the fighting demon sect was the closest, Mo Qingyun's first stop was Pang Chao's fighting demon sect. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Udihai immediately gathered some disciples and followed Mo Qingyun to the war demon sect. These disciples were the more outstanding second-generation disciples in the immortal palace of fortune. All of them were in the 9 heavens arcane immortal realm. Mo Qingyun brought them along to broaden their horizons so that they could gain more experience in the future. In the War Demon Sect's conference hall. At this moment, the War Demon Sect's sect master, Pang Chao, and the elders were all gathered here. Sect master, that brat Mo Qingyun is very tactful. Palace Master Qin was just saying that to win over that brat. That's right. Our 4 demon sects are much more valuable than that brat. If that brat swallows his anger, we can let him live for a while longer. If that brat comes, I'll break his legs directly. When the War Demon Sect's elders saw that Mo Qingyun had not come, they all sneered complacently. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun was afraid of the War Demon Sect's strength, so he did not dare to come and ask for the resource land. Hearing everyone's words, Pang Chao sneered and said, "A brat who hasn't even grown his hair is delusional enough to create a force. Does he really think that creating a force is as easy as playing house?" Everyone nodded, their expressions full of disdain, showing their contempt for Mo Qingyun. After discussing with everyone, Pang Chao's face showed confusion and said, "Strange, according to the agreed time, the departing banquet young master of the departing Heaven Chamber of Commerce should have arrived long ago. Why hasn't he come this time?" Hearing Pang Chao's words, everyone was puzzled and curious about the reason. At this moment, while Pang Chao and the others were puzzled, a disheveled young man arrived. "Young master departing banquet." Seeing this young man walk in, Pang Chao and the others were stunned and surprised. They were just talking about the departing banquet when the latter arrived. Seeing the arrival of the departing banquet, Pang Chao immediately stood up and walked towards the departing banquet with a smile. "Young master departing banquet, we were just talking about you. I didn't expect you to arrive so soon." "Thank you for your concern, sect leader Pang and seniors." Hearing Pang Chao's greeting, the departing banquet showed a humble expression and quickly bowed to everyone. After exchanging a few words with the departing banquet, Pang Chao showed a curious expression and asked, "Young master departing banquet, you have always been prepared. Why are you late this time?" "It's all because of a damn brat." Hearing Pang Chao's question, the departing banquet's face immediately turned ugly and his body trembled with anger. With his status, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? Seeing the change in the departing banquet's expression, Pang Chao and the others immediately became curious and wanted to know what had happened to the departing banquet. Under everyone's curious gazes, Li Yan briefly recounted some of his experiences to everyone. After hearing the departing banquet story, the expressions of Pang Chao and the others immediately became interesting. If they guessed correctly, the person who made the departing banquet so disheveled was Mo Qingyun. It had to be said that the world was too small. Naturally, the departing banquet didn't know what Pang Chao and the others were thinking. After telling them about his experience, he asked, "Sect leader Pang, I wonder if a brat called Mo Qingyun came to the Demon Extermination Divine Palace recently?" "Young Master departing banquet, the brat you are talking about arrived half a month ago." Pang Chao didn't hide anything from the departing banquet's inquiry. He nodded honestly and said, "In addition, that brat also received the approval of Palace Master Qin, allowing him to build a sect in the Demon Extermination mountain range. He really came." Hearing Pang Chao's words, the departing banquet's face immediately darkened and a murderous aura exuded from his body. Seeing the departing banquet's expression, Pang Chao sneered and said, "Young Master departing banquet, don't worry. That brat can't run away. I will accompany you later and give him a taste of his own medicine." "Thank you, Sect Leader Pang." Chapter 2241. At this moment, while Pang Chao and the others were chatting, a group of people arrived at the Fighting Demon Sect. That's right, the people who arrived at the Fighting Demon Sect were Mo Qingyun and the others. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the others arrive, the Fighting Demon Sect's guarding disciple immediately came to report to Pang Chao. "Sect Master, a brat called Mo Qingyun brought some people to see you." The Fighting Demon Sect's guarding disciple came in front of Pang Chao and reported the arrival of Mo Qingyun and the others. Hearing the disciple's report, Pang Chao and the others were shocked. They were very surprised by this news. Originally, they thought that Mo Qingyun wouldn't dare to come. Who would have thought that they guessed wrong? This brat actually dares to come. He's got guts. What a reckless brat. Looks like we have to teach him a lesson. That's good too. Let him suffer a little and let him learn how to behave. In the conference hall, the Fighting Demon Sect's elders all had cold smiles on their faces. Knowing that Mo Qingyun came to the Fighting Demon Sect, Li Yan's face immediately turned ugly. He said in a dark voice, "Brat, I was just thinking of looking for you. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to me." "Young Master Li Yan, looks like we don't have to trouble ourselves. That brat delivered himself to us." Knowing that Mo Qingyun came, Pang Chao was first stunned, then a cold smile appeared on his face. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun coming at this time was like delivering himself to be slapped in the face. "Bring them in." Pang Chao waved his hand and ordered the guarding disciple. After receiving Pang Chao's order, the guarding disciple didn't dare to hesitate and immediately brought Mo Qingyun and the others over. After a while, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the conference hall and saw Pang Chao and the others sitting inside. "Leaving banquet?" Mo Qingyun glanced at the crowd. What surprised him was that the leaving banquet was actually here. It had to be said that enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the rest enter the main hall, Pang Chao revealed a mocking smile and pretended to apologize. "Sect Leader Mo, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that you guys would be coming so suddenly. There aren't any extra chairs for you guys to sit on." As soon as Pang Chao finished speaking, the smile on his face widened. How could such a large sect like the War Demon Sect not even have a stool? His purpose in doing this was to give Mo Qingyun a show of strength and make Mo Qingyun back off. "Looks like I came at a bad time." With Mo Qingyun's intelligence, how could he not know what Pang Chao was thinking? He laughed lightly and said, "It's all right, I have brought my own stool. There is no need to trouble Sect Leader Pang to prepare it." The moment Mo Qingyun's words fell, he waved his hand and took out several stools from the Fortune mainland. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Pang Chao's face immediately darkened, and anger rose in his heart. He had never imagined that Mo Qingyun would bring so many stools with him when he went out. Seeing that his show of strength to Mo Qingyun had failed, Pang Chao's expression changed. He pretended to be puzzled and asked, Sect Leader Mo, may I know why you came to my War Demon sect today? Sect Leader Pang should be very clear about my purpose in coming to the War Demon sect. Mo Qingyun smiled meaningfully at Pang Chao's question and said, Sect Leader Pang, a few days ago at the Devil Slaughtering Divine Palace, shouldn't you fulfill the 2 things you promised me? Pang Chao and the rest's faces darkened, and a cold glint flickered in their eyes. They had never imagined that not only did Mo Qingyun dare to come to their sect, but he also dared to ask for elixirs and resources. After a brief daze, Li Yan snorted and curled his lips in disdain. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror to see what kind of status you have before coming to the War Demon sect to demand an exorbitant price? Who do you think you are? When I'm speaking, do you have the right to interrupt? Hearing Li Yan's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold, and he retorted in an unhappy tone. The reason why he was polite to Pang Chao was because he was giving face to Qin Tu Mo. He didn't want to cause trouble as soon as he arrived. When the time came, it would make things difficult for Qin Tu Mo. But what was Li Yan? He didn't deserve to be treated politely. More importantly, this guy had provoked him time and time again, and he had already touched his bottom line. Kid, pay attention to your words. Don't you know where you are? Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Li Yan immediately became angry and scolded Mo Qingyun coldly. When Li Yan's words fell, Pang Chao's expression also turned ugly. He said unhappily, Sect Leader Mo, young Master Li Yan is my distinguished guest. Please show him some respect. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the faces of the surrounding War Demon sect elders immediately darkened. At the same time, some people even stood up, looking like they were going to attack Mo Qingyun. Pang Chao didn't stop the elder's actions. The sneer on his face deepened, and he said, Sect Leader Mo, don't say that I didn't give face to Palace Master Qin. If you kneel down to young Master Li Yan now, kowtow and admit your mistake, I can forgive your offense just now. As Pang Chao's words fell, he released an aura that pressed down on Mo Qingyun's body. Obviously, he wanted to bully and teach Mo Qingyun a lesson. Impudent! Seeing Pang Chao's action, ZK's face immediately darkened, and he scolded him. When ZK shouted, he also released an aura that pressed down on Pang Chao. Late Stage Sage Realm? Or Great Perfection Sage Realm? Sensing ZK's aura, Pang Chao's expression immediately trembled, and a strong sense of fear appeared on his face. He didn't expect that there would be such an expert by Mo Qingyun's side. When ZK was angry, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a sneer. He turned to look at Li Yan and said, If he can't accept my kneel, you can't accept it either. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Pang Chao's face immediately turned ugly, and his eyes were about to spit fire. Too arrogant, too arrogant! No matter what, he was still a Sage Realm expert and the sect leader of a large sect. A junior in the Nine Heavens Xian, Immortal Realm, actually dared to talk to him like this. If he wasn't afraid of ZK's strength, he would have slapped Mo Qingyun to death. Although Pang Chao was furious, his rationality told him that he couldn't attack Mo Qingyun. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Pang Chao's face darkened and he said, Sect Leader Mo, my fighting demon sect doesn't welcome you. Please leave quickly. Seeing Pang Chao's action, ZK and the others' faces immediately darkened, and they wanted to attack the people of the fighting demon sect. A small sect like the fighting demon sect actually dared to show off their strength? They were clearly courting death. Just as ZK and the others were about to attack, Mo Qingyun raised his hand to stop them. A mocking smile appeared on his face and he said, Sect Leader Pang, I've already given you a chance. I hope you won't regret it in the future. Chapter 2242. After Mo Qingyun and the others left, Pang Chao and the others all relaxed, as if a huge rock had been lifted from their shoulders. The pressure ZK exerted on them was too great, making them feel as if they could not breathe. I didn't expect there to be such an expert by this kid's side. I was careless before. Thinking of the aura that ZK exuded, Pang Chao's face showed a lingering fear. He was sure that once ZK attacked with all his strength, they might not be able to stop him. Even if they repelled ZK, the fighting demon sect's strength would definitely be greatly reduced, and the other 3 sects would take advantage of it. This was not something that Pang Chao wanted to see. So what if he's powerful? He's still got the hell out of here. That's right, we are also a sect under the demon slaughtering divine palace. I don't believe they dare to mess around. I hope that they will attack. If they do, they will definitely anger Palace Master Qin. At that time, Palace Master Qin will expel them from the demon slaughtering mountain range. Let's see how they can establish themselves in the prison wasteland domain. The elders of the fighting demon sect were all talking at once, as if they had seen Mo Qinyun being expelled. While everyone was talking at once, Li Yan stood up with a cold smile on his face and said, I think that Palace Master Qin gave this kid a resource land for another reason. Hearing Li Yan's words, Pang Chao's expression immediately changed, and a look of curiosity appeared on his face. Young Master Li Yan, please speak clearly. I am all ears. I think that the relationship between Palace Master Qin and this kid is actually not that close. Under the gaze of Pang Chao and the others, Li Yan gave a simple analysis of the relationship between Mo Qinyun and Demon Slaughtering Qin. The reason why Palace Master Qin gave Mo Qinyun the resource land is actually to expel him from the demon slaughtering mountain range through you. Palace Master Qin letting that kid establish a sect is already a great kindness. There is really no need to give him the resource land. In this way, young Master Li Yan's analysis is not wrong. Palace Master Qin really wants to expel that kid. So Palace Master Qin is hinting to us to expel that kid. In that case, what are we afraid of? Let's teach that kid a lesson. The War Demon Sect's elders had excited expressions, as if they had found a way to deal with Mo Qinyun. Hearing this, Pang Chao nodded. He felt that what the banquet said made sense. However, when he thought of ZK's strength, Pang Chao's expression turned ugly. ZK was a difficult opponent. Seeing Pang Chao's expression, Li Yan could roughly guess what he was thinking and immediately comforted him. Sect Master Pang, there is no need for you to worry about the master beside Mo Qinyun. No matter how strong he is, can he be stronger than Palace Master Qin? If he dares to make a move, Palace Master Qin will definitely not stand idly by. Hearing this analysis, Pang Chao's eyes immediately lit up. He felt that what the banquet said made sense. With this thought, Pang Chao's worries were completely dispelled. Master, why don't you let us take action and directly exterminate the Battle Demon Sect? Coming out of the War Demon Sect, ZK asked Mo Qinyun with a puzzled expression. Hearing ZK's question, the others were also puzzled. They wanted to know Mo Qinyun's intention. No matter what, the War Demon Sect is a subsidiary sect of the Demon Slaughtering Divine Palace. Directly exterminating it is not appropriate. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qinyun explained simply. Then, a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He said, moreover, using these sects to sharpen the blades of the immortal Palace of Fortune's disciples is not a bad idea. Everyone's eyes lit up. They understood Mo Qinyun's idea and nodded in agreement. With the strength of Mo Qinyun and the others, the 4 demon sects naturally did not put them in their eyes. They could be exterminated with a wave of their hand. Even if it was a force like the Demon Slaughtering Divine Palace, it would not be too difficult for Mo Qinyun to destroy it. However, this way, the disciples of the immortal Palace of Fortune would have no opponents to train with. Master, the War Demon Sect is not willing to give up the resource land. What should we do now? After understanding Mo Qinyun's thoughts, ZK and the others revealed inquiring expressions and asked Mo Qinyun about his next plans. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qinyun smiled faintly. He said, Pang Chao is not willing to hand over the resource land. I will have to go get it myself and let the disciples train while I am at it. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK and the others' eyes lit up. Urgency appeared on their faces. Let's go to the immortal rain field. Under Mo Qingyun's command, everyone rushed towards the immortal rain field and prepared to take it by force. The immortal rain field was not too far away. Mo Qingyun and the others only took half an hour to arrive at the immortal rain field. When Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the immortal rain field, they saw many disciples of the war demon sect watering the spiritual plants in the field. As expected of the immortal rain field, the soil in this field is simply a treasure for growing spiritual plants. Mo Qingyun glanced at the immortal rain field and immediately revealed a joyful expression. He couldn't help but praise it. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK and the others nodded in agreement with Mo Qingyun's point of view. If he planted phase in this immortal field, the phase would grow several times faster than ordinary soil. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately walked towards the immortal rain field. Stop. This is the war demon sect's resource land. If you don't want to die, leave immediately. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the others arrive, the disciples of the war demon sect, who were watering the spiritual plants, immediately berated Mo Qingyun and the others. While the war demon sect's disciples were berating Mo Qingyun, a lazy-looking youth slowly walked over and said, "What's the matter? Why are you making such a ruckus?" "Young lord, some guys of unknown origin suddenly came to the immortal rain field. We were berating them and asking them to leave." Hearing the youth's question, the war demon sect's disciple revealed a respectful expression and immediately reported to him. After learning the whole story from the disciple, the youth glanced at Mo Qingyun and the others and said, "Where did this group of beggars come from? How dare they covet the spiritual plants of my war demon sect? Now, each of you will chop off an arm and a leg, then scram as far as you can." Hearing the youth's words, Mo Qingyun revealed a playful smile and said, "I'm very sorry, but from this moment onwards, this place no longer belongs to the war demon sect. I'll give you 10 breaths of time to leave. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the youth's expression immediately froze and he looked at Mo Qingyun in astonishment. He didn't expect that a brat at the Nine Heavens mysterious immortal stage would dare to speak to him in such a tone. "You want me to scram? Are you joking?" After being momentarily stunned, the youth burst into laughter and pointed at himself. "Brat, do you know who I am? Do you know who you're talking to?" Chapter 2243. I won't leave today. Let's see what you can do to me. The young man's face was full of arrogance as he confronted Mo Qingyun. He didn't take Mo Qingyun seriously at all. Presumably, in his opinion, Mo Qingyun's words just now were just to scare him. Seeing the young man's actions, ZK and the others shook their heads with sympathy in their eyes. This guy was really pitiful. He didn't even realize that he was about to die. 10 breaths have passed. Since you don't cherish the opportunity, don't blame me for what happens next. Mo Qingyun's face darkened. He didn't waste any more words with the young man and directly slammed his palm down. Instantly, a terrifying amount of immortal spiritual qi gathered and formed a giant palm. So strong. Sensing the aura from Mo Qingyun's palm, the arrogant young man was shocked. His eyes flashed with fear as he said, You can't attack me. I'm the young master of the fighting demon sect, Pang Shao." The young master of the fighting demon sect? After learning the young man's identity, Mo Qingyun squinted his eyes. His face was full of shock. The young man's identity did surprise him, but it was only a surprise. "Even if Pang Chao himself was here, I would still kill him, not to mention that you're just the young master." Mo Qingyun didn't stop there. His arm shook as he increased the strength of his palm. Boom! Emo Qingyun's palm landed, shaking the earth and stirring up a cloud of dust. Under Emo Qingyun's palm, Pang Xiao was smashed to the ground like a pile of mud. It seemed like he was most likely dead. After killing Pang Xiao, Emo Qingyun looked at the disciples of the Palace of Fortune and ordered, "I'll leave these people to you. Use their blood to train your combat strength." Yes. Hearing Emo Qingyun's order, the disciples of the Palace of Fortune immediately attacked the people of the Fighting Demon sect. "You actually dared to kill my Battle Demon sect's young master. You're courting death." Seeing that Pang Xiao had been killed by Emo Qingyun, the stewards of the Immortal Rain Mountain field immediately charged towards Emo Qingyun. Looking at the people attacking him, Emo Qingyun's expression changed. He raised his hand and punched towards them. A violent flame energy quickly gathered on Emo Qingyun's fist, carrying with it an aura that could destroy the heavens and earth. Once the flaming fist radiance formed, it pounced towards the stewards of the War Demon sect like a fierce tiger. Following that, the stewards of the Fighting Demon sect were engulfed by the fist light and instantly burned to ashes. After killing the stewards of the Fighting Demon sect, Emo Qingyun looked at the juniors of the Immortal Palace of Fortune, wanting to see their battle prowess. Without going through the baptism of saber lights and sword shadows, the battle prowess of the Immortal Palace of Creation's disciples is indeed greatly lacking. Seeing the disciples' performance, Emo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment, thinking about how to make up for it. The disciples of the Fighting Demon sect who were guarding the resource lands were obviously weaker than the disciples of the Immortal Palace of Fortune, but they still had the upper hand. If it weren't for Emo Qingyun's shocking performance that made the disciples of the Fighting Demon sect panic, they might have crushed the disciples of the Immortal Palace of Fortune. After about 15 minutes, the battle between the two sides finally ended. With the secret help of Emo Qingyun and the others, the disciples of the Immortal Palace of Fortune achieved a Pyrrhic victory. Their faces were filled with lingering fear. In the battle just now, they had escaped death many times, lingering at the gates of hell. "Master, the people of the Fighting Demon sect have all been killed. Do we need to send someone over to guard this place?" Walking behind Emo Qingyun, Udihai had an inquiring expression on his face, inquiring about the following arrangements. Hearing Udihai's question, Emo Qingyun's lips curved into a faint smile, saying, "Since Pang Xiao wants to renege on his debt, then I can only accompany him." As Emo Qingyun's words fell, he formed a series of hand seals, hitting every corner of the Immortal Rain Mountain field. Following that, the ground began to shake violently, and the Immortal Rain Mountain field floated up little by little. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were dumbfounded. What was Emo Qingyun doing? Collect. Before everyone's shocked gazes, Emo Qingyun directly sent the Immortal Rain Mountain field into the Fortune mainland. Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, even with ZK's mental fortitude, his expression couldn't help but change. Emo Qingyun's move was too ruthless, directly cutting off the Fighting Demon sect's hope. After collecting the Immortal Rain Mountain field, Emo Qingyun thought for a moment, and the smile on his face deepened. He said, "The Fighting Demon sect still has a few resource lands. In order to not let them take care of it, I'll take them all." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, ZK and the others' eyes widened. This was cutting off the Fighting Demon sect's roots. Go to the next resource land. Before everyone's shocked gazes, Emo Qingyun's figure moved, taking the lead and flying forward. Not long after, another group of people with powerful momentum arrived at another resource land of the Fighting Demon sect. These people were naturally Emo Qingyun's group. Attack! Arriving in the air above the resource land, Emo Qingyun didn't waste any time with them, directly ordering the Immortal Palace of Fortune's disciples. Hearing Emo Qingyun's order, the Immortal Palace of Fortune's disciples charged towards the Fighting Demon sect's disciples. With their previous experience, their battle prowess had obviously risen to a whole new level. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction, smiling faintly as he said, "It seems like we should let them participate more in such matters in the future." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK and the others' expressions became complicated, and they began to sympathize with the four great demon sects. In a short while, all the fighting demon sect's disciples on this piece of resource land were slaughtered. After killing all the fighting demon sect's disciples, Mo Qingyun formed a hand seal, transferring the resource land to the Fortune mainland. In the next few hours, the fighting demon sect's resource lands were emptied by Mo Qingyun. Go to the Moon Demon Sect. After taking away all the fighting demon sect's resource lands, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time, and directly set off for the Moon Demon Sect. Inside the fighting demon sect, I thought that Mo Qingyun had some great ability, but it turns out he's only SOSO. What can he do if we don't give him any resource lands? He can only leave behind some harsh words. Not only us, even the other three great demon sects won't give him any resource lands. I really want to see what kind of expression he'll have after running into a wall with the other demon sects. Is there even a need to ask? Of course it'll be very interesting. Not long after Mo Qingyun's group left, the fighting demon sect's elders showed disdain as they mocked Mo Qingyun. While everyone was mocking Mo Qingyun, Li Yan revealed a solemn expression as he looked at Pang Chao and said, "A few days ago, young Master Pang Shao sent me a message, saying that he has something important to discuss with me. Why didn't I see him?" Hearing Li Yan's question, Pang Chao smiled faintly and said, "Recently, the immortal herbs in the Immortal Rain Mountain fields are about to mature, so he went to guard the fields. If young Master Li Yan has something to discuss with him, I will send someone to summon him back." "No need. In that case, I'll go directly to the Immortal Rain Mountain fields to look for him." Li Yan waved his hand to decline Pang Chao's request, and prepared to go to the Immortal Rain Mountain fields. Seeing Li Yan's action, Pang Chao pondered for a moment, then said, "This old man just happens to be free, so I'll accompany young Master Li Yan. If Mo Qingyun goes to the Immortal Rain Mountain fields to cause trouble, I'll teach him a lesson." Chapter 2244. After a quarter of an hour, Pang Chao and the others arrived at the Immortal Rain Fields and saw a shocking scene. The Immortal Rain Fields were gone. The entire Immortal Rain Mountain Fields resource land seemed to have been moved away by someone using a great method. How could this be? Looking at the scene before him, Pang Chao's face turned ashen and he was furious. Intolerable bullying, intolerable bullying. This was too ruthless. As anger rose in Pang Chao's heart, he swept his gaze around to search for Pang Shao. Pang Shao was also in the Immortal Rain Field. Now that the Immortal Rain Fields had been taken away, Pang Chao wondered how Pang Shao was doing. Soon, Pang Chao saw Pang Zhao's mud-like body in a large pit. "Shao-er." Seeing Pang Shao in the pit, Pang Chao's body trembled and his eyes turned red. Pang Shao had been killed. Who dared to kill my son? Coming to Pang Zhao's side, Pang Chao picked up Pang Zhao's body and roared at the sky. Pang Chao roared, venting the anger in his heart. His face turned cold and he said, "It must be them. Other than them, no one would dare to kill my Shao-er. Mo Qingyun, you killed my Shao-er and stole my fighting demon sect's resource lands. This grudge is absolutely irreconcilable." After Pang Chao finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately left with Pang Zhao's body. He said darkly, "After I'm done with Shao-er's funeral, I'll slowly settle the score with you. I'll kill everyone in your sect." Seeing this, Li Yan frowned slightly and walked to Pang Zhao's side. He said, "Sect leader Pang, please restrain your grief. Pang Shao and I are like brothers. If there's anything you need me to do, just let me know." "Thank you for your kindness, young Master Li Yan." Hearing Li Yan's words, Pang Chao thanked him and didn't say anything else. Then, Pang Chao and the others returned to the fighting demon sect with gloomy faces. When Pang Chao and the others returned to the Fighting Demon sect, Mo Qingyun and the others came to the Moon Demon sect and asked the disciples to pass on the message. Not long after, Yu Ji brought the people of the Moon Demon sect and arrived in front of Mo Qingyun. Little brother Mo, it's been half a month since we parted at the demon slaughtering divine palace. Big sister really misses you. Yu Ji arrived in front of Mo Qingyun and gave Mo Qingyun an enchanting smile, throwing a soul-stirring wink at him. Regarding Yu Ji's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression did not change in the slightest as he said indifferently, "Making Gate Master you worry is truly my honor. I wonder if the resource land that Gate Master you promised is still in your heart." After experiencing Pang Chao's matter, Mo Qingyun already didn't have the patience to continue wrangling with Yu Ji. If Yu Ji wasn't willing to honor her promise, he didn't mind using the same method he used on the War Demon sect on Yu Ji. The moment she saw Mo Qingyun's attitude, a cold light flashed across Yu Ji's eyes. She said coquettishly to Mo Qingyun, "To think that I've been thinking of you all this time. You only know how to bully me the moment you come. You really make me feel very sad." Seeing Yu Ji's actions, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed, but he couldn't say anything. However, Mo Qingyun also didn't have any plans to give in. He looked at Yu Ji with an indifferent expression. He naturally knew that Yu Ji's current actions were all an act. This woman wasn't simple. Seeing Mo Qingyun's indifference, Yu Ji's gaze towards Mo Qingyun changed once again. She could also tell that this brat in front of her was someone who wouldn't listen to anything. "You only know how to bully a weak woman like me." Seeing that her plan failed, Yu Ji no longer hesitated either. Glaring at Mo Qingyun, she said, "Elder sister, I mean what I say. Since I promised to give you the resource land, I naturally won't go back on my word. You all follow me." When Yu Ji's words faded, she led the way in front, bringing Mo Qingyun towards the Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine. Towards Yu Ji's straightforwardness, Mo Qingyun was rather surprised and involuntarily paid extra attention. There must be something fishy when things are out of the ordinary. There was nothing wrong with being a little more careful. Before long, under Yu Ji's lead, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of the Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine, his expression was ugly. He finally knew Yu Ji's intentions. This woman was really sinister enough. Seeing that she couldn't obtain the Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine, she actually destroyed the entire Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine and did not let Mo Qingyun gain any benefit. It precisely matched that sentence, "A woman's heart was the most vicious." Seeing that the Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine had been destroyed, although Mo Qingyun was a little angry, he didn't show it. Many thanks to sect leader Yu. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Mo Qingyun thanked Yu Ji and no longer paid any attention to her. Seeing that Mo Qingyun thanked her, Yu Ji laughed coquettishly and waved her hand at Mo Qingyun, saying, "Little brother Mo, if you really want to thank me, you can't bully me in the future in this Demon Fall mountain range." Mo Qingyun didn't reply. His brows were tightly knitted as he swept his gaze over the Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine to see if there was any way to salvage it. "Since the resource land has been given to you, I won't stay any longer." Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Yu Ji also didn't want to stay any longer and left after bidding farewell. After Yu Ji left, ZK walked in front of Mo Qingyun and said, "Master, this Silver Motherf Mystic Iron Mine is already useless. Why don't we use the same method to move the other resource lands of the Moon Demon sect away? There's no hurry." Hearing ZK's suggestion, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and refused. He smiled faintly and said, "Since they like to play, I'll play with them. If we destroy them all at once, it won't be good for the disciples to train." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't want to stay any longer. He directly ordered ZK and the rest, "Let's go. We'll go to the Cloud Demon sect now and see what tricks they have up their sleeve." following which, Mo Qingyun brought them to the Cloud Demon sect. Little brother Mo, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I thought you didn't want the resource land anymore. Lei Rui was a sly old fox. The moment he saw Mo Qingyun and the rest arrive, he guessed Mo Qingyun's intentions. Hearing Lei Rui's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He was a little surprised by the other party's straightforwardness. After exchanging some pleasantries with Mo Qingyun, Lei Rui didn't waste any more time. He immediately said to Mo Qingyun, "Since you're here, I'll bring you to the spiritual ice crystal mine and hand over the resource land to you." Mo Qingyun didn't reject Lei Rui's suggestion and immediately followed him to the spiritual ice crystal mine. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the spiritual ice crystal mine, he knew Lei Rui's intentions. This old man was indeed not a good person. Although he wasn't as ruthless as Yuji, he wasn't that bad either. He had dug out the entire spiritual ice crystal mine and didn't leave a single spiritual ice crystal behind. According to Mo Qingyun's estimation, it would be difficult to produce any more spiritual ice crystals within the next 1,000 years. After handing the spiritual ice crystal mine to Mo Qingyun, Lei Rui left with the attitude of a victor. Chapter 2245. Frost Demon Sect Conference Hall. You're finally here. I thought you didn't want the resource plot anymore. Yang Mo sat at the top of the hall and looked at Mo Qingyun and the others in the hall. His words carried some contempt. Mo Qingyun laughed softly when he saw the disdain on Yang Mo's face. He said, "Although the resource site may have been destroyed by you, it is still something that belongs to me. I will naturally take it back." "Humph. You underestimate me too much. I wouldn't stoop to such a thing." Yang Mo snorted when he heard that. His face was full of pride. "Only people from the other 3 sects would shamelessly do what you're talking about." "Oh!" Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was rather surprised by Yang Mo's behavior and couldn't help but think more highly of him. After chatting with Mo Qingyun for a while, Yang Mo didn't want to talk too much. He got up and walked out of the hall. "Since you're here, follow me to the Violet Glow Firewood Forest. I'll hand it over to you." Mo Qingyun didn't say anything when he saw Yang Mo's action. He immediately followed behind him. Soon, they arrived at the Violet Glow Firewood Forest under Yang Mo's lead. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that the Violet Glow Firewood Forest was really undamaged. Yang Mo wasn't lying. After bringing Mo Qingyun to the Violet Glow Firewood Forest, Yang Mo raised his head and said arrogantly, "Kid, this old man wouldn't stoop to playing tricks with you. If you really have the ability, feel free to make your sect surpass my Frost Demon sect." Without waiting for Mo Qingyun's reply, Yang Mo directly flew away. He's a prideful guy. He's much better than the other sections. Watching Yang Mo gradually fly away, Mo Qingyun had a look of admiration on his face as he evaluated him in his heart. Compared to Pang Chao and the others, Yang Mo gave Mo Qingyun the best impression. In order to make it easier to manage, let's move this resource land away as well. Glancing at the Violet Glow Flamewood Forest, Mo Qingyun immediately made a decision. He quickly formed a series of hand seals. Subsequently, the Violet Sunset Firewood Forest's resource land was moved to the Fortune mainland by Mo Qingyun. After taking away the resource lands, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer. He said to ZK and the others, "The purpose of this trip has been accomplished. Let's return to the Palace of Creation." Then, everyone followed Mo Qingyun back to the Celestial Palace of Creation. When Mo Qingyun returned to the Palace of Fortune, the news of Pang Zhao's death had spread throughout the Demon Fall mountain range. Within the Demon Slaughter Divine Palace, Pang Chao's son was killed? The resource lands have also been moved away? Hearing the news of Pang Zhao's death, Qin 2Mo blanked for a moment, then shook his head with a wry smile. "It seems like I have underestimated that little guy's means." leaving him in the Demon Fall mountain range, seems to have condescended to him. Hearing Chin Tu Mo's words, Elder Chin Da's expression changed. He immediately understood the meaning of Chin Tu Mo's words and exclaimed, "Palace Lord, you mean, Pang Shao was killed by Mo Qingyun? Isn't his guts a little too big? Isn't he afraid of Pang Chao's revenge?" Pang Chao's revenge? Hearing Elder Chin Da's words, Chin Tu Mo smiled meaningfully. "You don't say, with that kid's ability, he really isn't afraid of Pang Chao's revenge." Elder Chin Da's expression changed again. His impression of Mo Qingyun had changed. Under Elder Chin Da's shocked gaze, Chin Tu Mo's face darkened. Pang Chao is relying on his close relationship with the departing Heaven Chamber of Commerce to ignore my words more and more. It's good to let him suffer a little. Elder Chin Da nodded, agreeing with Chin Tu Mo's words. Inside the Moon Demon sect. As soon as Yu Ji returned to the Moon Demon sect, the news of Pang Zhao's death reached her ears. Pang Chao's son was killed, and all his resource lands were emptied? Yu Ji's beautiful eyes widened. She couldn't believe this was true. She exclaimed, "If I'm not wrong, Pang Zhao's death should be related to Mo Qingyun. It seems that I've underestimated him a little. This guy really isn't someone to be trifled with." Yu Ji muttered to herself. She no longer hesitated and immediately gave instructions to her subordinates. "I'm going to the Battle Demon sect. Immediately warn the sect members not to provoke the Palace of Fortune for the time being." After Yu Ji gave some instructions, she hurried towards the Battle Demon sect without stopping. Inside the Cloud Demon sect, Pang Chao didn't give him any resource lands, so he killed Pang Shao. This method is really ruthless. After hearing the news of Pang Zhao's death, Lei Rue immediately guessed that Pang Shao must have been killed by Mo Qingyun. He smiled sinisterly. "It seems that I've caused his hatred by emptying the resource mines. It seems that I need to take some measures. I'm going to the Battle Demon sect. Immediately send more guards to the other resource lands." After giving instructions to the elders, Lei Rue also wanted to go to the Battle Demon sect to see how Pang Chao would deal with Mo Qingyun. He said, "Whether Pang Chao can eliminate Mo Qingyun or not, it's not a bad thing to let the Battle Demon sect exhaust the Palace of Fortune's strength." Inside the Frost Demon sect. This kid is too young after all. He's already confronting the Battle Demon sect head-on. What a pity. After hearing about Mo Qingyun, Yang Mo showed some contempt, as if he was disappointed in Mo Qingyun. He said, "Kid, if you want to compete with me, Yang Mo, you have to get past Pang Chao first. Otherwise, you're not qualified to be my opponent. I hope you won't disappoint me." "Sect Master, Pang Chao has sent an invitation. Do you want to go to the Battle Demon sect?" An elder below Yang Mo asked with a pleading expression, asking for Yang Mo's decision. Hearing the elder's question, Yang Mo picked up his teacup, took a sip, and said, "Pang Chao has invited us to join forces to deal with Mo Qingyun. I don't have any enmity with Mo Qingyun. Why should I get involved in this mess? If you don't go, won't Pang Chao be displeased?" Seeing Yang Mo's attitude, the elder was worried. He wanted to persuade Yang Mo to go. Hearing the elder's words, Yang Mo immediately snorted and said, Yang Mo, don't need to look at Pang Chao's face. If he's dissatisfied with my Frost Demon sect, I don't mind accepting his challenge." After Yang Mo said that, he no longer hesitated and turned to leave the hall. Seeing Yang Mo's behavior, the elder didn't say anything else. He didn't continue to persuade Yang Mo. He knew that with Yang Mo's character, since he had made up his mind, it would be useless for him to persuade him. While everyone was heading to the Battle Demon sect, Mo Qingyun and the others returned to the Immortal Palace of Fortune. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the others return, Qian Linglong and the others came to greet them and asked about the situation of the resource land. Chapter 2246. Mo Qingyun and the others chatted as they walked. Soon, they arrived at the conference hall and were ready to discuss their next deployment. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that Lu Kang and the others were actually waiting here. Each of them had a heavy expression on their faces. Judging by their expressions, they must have encountered some obstacles in the process of acquiring the store. Otherwise, they would not have come to the Immortal Palace of Fortune to report to Mo Qingyun. "Greetings, Mr. Mo." Seeing Mo Qingyun slowly approaching, Lu Kang and the others bowed to him with a guilty expression. Mo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently at the actions of Lu Kang and the others. He directly asked them, "Deacon Lu, how are your preparations for the acquisition of the store coming along?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Lu Kang and the others frowned and their expressions became even more awkward. Lu Kang was silent for a while. He sorted out his emotions and reported, "Mr. Mo, the acquisition of the store is not going well. Because of the Shao clan in Chunyo City, not only did we fail to acquire the store, but they also cheated us of our immortal spiritual stones." As soon as Lu Kang finished speaking, they lowered their heads with ashamed expressions on their faces. They had indeed failed miserably in this matter. Hearing Lu Kang's report, not only did Mo Qingyun's expression turn ugly, but even ZK and the others' expressions turned ugly. They were not only angry at the Shao clan's actions, but also at the incompetence of Lu Kang and the others. They could not even handle such a small matter. After knowing the Shao clan's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He stood up and said, "Since the Shao clan in Chunyo City dared to take my immortal spiritual stones, they will have to pay a price. My things are not that easy to take." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Lu Kang knew what he was thinking. His expression turned serious as he said, "Mr. Mo, the Shao clan is very powerful in Chunyo City. They are one of the top 5 clans in Chunyo City. If we confront them rashly, we will suffer a great loss. Don't tell me we're just going to tolerate this?" As soon as Lu Kang spoke, ZK coldly shouted before Mo Qingyun could reply, "Master, this old man is willing to lead men to the Shao clan and directly trample them to the ground." Hearing ZK's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "No, I want to go to Chunyo City personally and use the heads of the Shao clan as an example to others, to let them know that the Palace of Fortune is not to be trifled with. Ling Long, guard the Fortune Immortal Palace with Devouring Heaven and the others. I need to make a trip to Chunyo City." Before leaving, Mo Qingyun instructed Qian Linglong. Then, he turned to Lu Kang and the others and said, "All right, you guys lead the way." "Yes." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had made up his mind, Lu Kang and the others no longer tried to persuade him. They immediately led the way for Mo Qingyun. Chunyo City was not far from the Demon Fall mountain range. Mo Qingyun and the others only took 2 hours to arrive at Chunyo City. After bringing Mo Qingyun to Chunyo City, Lu Kang and the others did not stop and directly went to the shop they wanted to buy. The shop they wanted to buy was located in the center of Chunyo City and was very easy to find. Wanxiang Pavilion. After a while, Mo Qingyun came to a shop. This was the shop Lu Kang and the others were going to buy. When Mo Qingyun scanned the Wanxiang Pavilion, Lu Kang's face was filled with anger. He pointed at the shop and said, "Mr. Mo, this Wanxiang Pavilion auction house is the shop we want to buy." "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded and walked into the Wanxiang Pavilion. He saw a few shop assistants walking towards him. Perhaps they recognized Lu Kang and the others. The shop assistants walked up to Mo Qingyun and their faces darkened. They shouted, "The pavilion master has clearly said that you are not allowed to enter the Wanxiang Pavilion. You must leave immediately. Ask your pavilion master to come out. Our palace master has something to talk to him about." Lu Kang did not care about the shop assistants' words and scolded them coldly. Hearing Lu Kang's words, the shop assistants sneered and said coldly, "The pavilion master is not here. You must leave the Wanxiang Pavilion quickly. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude to you." As soon as the shop assistants finished speaking, Emo Qingyun hit them with his palm and sent them flying. Emo Qingyun sent several shop assistants flying with a single palm strike. His footsteps didn't stop as he directly walked into the 1,000-direction pavilion. Mr. Mo Yu, seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Lu Kong and the others widened their eyes. They were stunned by Emo Qingyun's actions. Emo Qingyun was too domineering. He was going to kill his way in. Although they were shocked by Emo Qingyun's actions, Lu Kong and the others did not dare to say anything and immediately followed behind Emo Qingyun. Because of Emo Qingyun's actions, they immediately attracted the attention of the people in the shop. They all looked over at them. Who is that person? He dares to cause trouble in the Wanxiang Pavilion. Is he not afraid of the Shao family behind the Wanxiang Pavilion? I seem to have some impression of the people behind that young man. A few days ago, they seemed to want to buy the Wanxiang Pavilion. It is said that they were cheated by the Wanxiang Pavilion. Not only did they not get the shop, but they also did not get the immortal spirit stones. No wonder they came to cause trouble today. It turns out that there was such a secret. But with the Shao family's strength, it will be very difficult for them to get back at them. Some customers in the shop whispered to each other. They were not optimistic about Emo Qingyun and the others. Under everyone's gaze, a group of guards from the Wanxiang Pavilion blocked Emo Qingyun's path. Stop. The pavilion master is receiving an important guest. You are not allowed to disturb him. After blocking Emo Qingyun's path, the guards' faces darkened and they loudly berated Emo Qingyun. Looking at the guards blocking his path, Emo Qingyun's face turned cold and he directly sent a palm strike at them. Following that, the guards who were blocking the way were sent flying. Because Emo Qingyun's actions were too loud, it immediately attracted the attention of the Wanxiang Pavilion's pavilion master. He walked out of the room with a furious expression. Who dares to cause trouble in the Wanxiang Pavilion? Hurry up and come here to die. As soon as the pavilion master walked out of the room, Emo Qingyun angrily shouted and looked at Emo Qingyun and the others. When he saw Lu Kong and the others, a contemptuous smile appeared on his face. He mocked, "So it's you guys. Last time, this old man was merciful and spared your lives. You actually don't know what's good for you and come to cause trouble again. Do you really think this old man doesn't dare to kill you?" Hearing the pavilion master's words, Lu Kong and the others' faces immediately darkened. He said angrily, "Mr. Mo, this is the pavilion master of the Wanxiang Pavilion, Wan Kun. He colluded with the Shao family and cheated us of our celestial spiritual stones." Seeing the actions of Lu Kong and the others, Wan Kun looked at Emo Qingyun and carefully sized up Emo Qingyun. When Wan Kun discovered Emo Qingyun's cultivation, his gaze became even more contemptuous. He sneered and said, "So you are the person behind Lu Kong. You think too highly of yourself if you want to avenge Lu Kong and the others with just a 9 heavens Xian, immortal realm brat." Chapter 2247. I've always been like this. Those who looked down on me have all died under my hand. Looking at Wan Kun, Emo Qingyun replied indifferently. His expression turned cold as he said, "Originally, you could have gotten some celestial spiritual stones by selling the shop to Lu Kong. Unfortunately, you chose the path of the abyss." Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, Wan Kun's face immediately darkened. His body emitted a murderous aura as he said, "Boy, it seems that if I don't show you my power, you won't know how to write the word death." As soon as Wan Kun finished speaking, he threw a palm strike at Emo Qingyun. He took the initiative to attack Emo Qingyun. 1,000 mammoth Qinkuan hand. Wan Kun threw out a palm strike. Saint power immediately surged on his palm, forming many palm shadows. When these palm shadows appeared, it was like a dreamy picture. It was impossible to tell whether the palm shadows were real or fake. The palm shadows appeared one by one and slammed toward Emo Qingyun from all directions, blocking all of Emo Qingyun's escape routes. Facing the palm shadows, Emo Qingyun was not afraid at all. With a calm expression, he said, "A false saint in the intermediate stage of the saint realm. You're just an ant. How dare you attack me? Since you're in a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he did not retreat. Instead, he took the initiative to meet Wan Kuen's palm strike. Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, Lu Kang and the others' expressions changed drastically. Panic appeared on their faces. They knew that Emo Qingyun was a Saint Array master, but they did not know how strong Emo Qingyun was. Seeing that Emo Qingyun was going to fight Wan Kuen head-on, they immediately became worried. They were afraid that Emo Qingyun would be injured in the fight. "Mr. Emo, be careful. Wan Kuen is very strong. You can't fight him head-on." "Wan Kuen, Mr. Emo is only a 9 heavens Xian immortal. You're not strong enough to fight him. Mr. Emo is a Saint Array master. He has a noble status. If you hurt him, you'll die." Lu Kang and the others were furious and anxious as they shouted at Wan Kuen one after another. While Lu Kang and the others were berating Wan Kuen, they also looked at ZK and said anxiously, "Mr. ZK, Mr. Emo is no match for Wan Kuen. Hurry up and stop Wan Kuen." Hearing the words of Lu Kang and the others, ZK still had an indifferent expression. He did not have the slightest intention of attacking. He was all too clear about Emo Qingyun's strength. It was not what Wan Kuen could compare to at all. If Emo Qingyun wanted to kill Wan Kuen, a single glance would be enough. The difference between the two was simply too great. Under the nervous gazes of Lu Kang and the others, a giant palm shrouded in black mist blasted out from Emo Qingyun's palm. Boom! Boom! Under the bombardment of Emo Qingyun's palm force, the palm shadows that were crushing towards him were instantly dispersed. After dispersing the palm shadows in front of him, Emo Qingyun didn't stop and continued to press towards Wan Kuen. So powerful! Seeing the power of Emo Qingyun's palm, Wan Kuen was immediately shocked and his face turned pale. He was sure that if he was hit by Emo Qingyun's palm, even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. Boom! However, Emo Qingyun's movements were too fast. Before Wan Kuen could react, Emo Qingyun's palm had already landed on his body. Under the bombardment of Emo Qingyun's palm, Wan Kuen flew out and spat out a mouthful of blood. How could this be? You're just a 9 heavens Xian immortal. How could you be so powerful? Wan Kuen fell to the ground and stared at Emo Qingyun in shock with his eyes wide open. He couldn't believe that this was real. With his cultivation of the middle stage saint realm, he couldn't even withstand one blow from Emo Qingyun. This was somewhat unbelievable. Emo Qingyun's current performance had a huge impact on him. It had completely shattered his understanding. Emo Qingyun ignored Wan Kuen's shock. He walked closer with a cold expression and said, "You're just a frog in a well. Naturally, you wouldn't understand this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have dared to steal my celestial spiritual stone and put yourself in an irreversible situation. Lad, I admit that you're very powerful. You're so powerful that it's beyond common sense. However, it won't be easy for you to kill me." Looking at Emo Qingyun, who was slowly approaching him, Wan Kuen stood up with difficulty. His expression became even colder as he said, "If I didn't have a trump card, how could I have a foothold in Chunyu City? Since you've forced me to this point, you can die with honor." 5 lightning sky palace appear. Wan Kuen quickly formed a hand seal and hit the strange pattern on the roof of the 1,000-direction pavilion. Following which, the strange pattern on the roof shone with dazzling light and covered the main hall of the 1,000-direction pavilion. Following which, Emo Qingyun noticed that the scene around him started to change bit by bit. When the scene around him stopped changing, Emo Qingyun found that he and the others were already in a magic treasure. Not only that, But Mo Qingyun could also clearly feel that there was a terrifying fluctuation of formation power around them. What a powerful fluctuation of formation power! This must be at least a mid-level offensive holy formation. I didn't expect Wan Kuan to be so powerful. Now we're in a bad situation. Mr. Mo, we're too incompetent. We've implicated you. Looking at the scene around them, Lu Kang and the others were ashamed and panicked. Seeing the reaction of Lu Kang and the others, Wan Kuan's expression became even more complacent. He sneered and said, "Since you've already seen that there's a mid-level holy formation in the 5 Lightning Sky Palace, then just accept your deaths." Because Wan Kuan had made such a big commotion, he quickly attracted the attention of the others in the 1,000-direction pavilion. They all rushed over. So it's Wan Kuan who took out a magic treasure to deal with Lu Kang and the others. They're done for. I heard that when Wan Kuan took out this treasure last time, he killed several mid-level Saint Realm experts. I've always heard that Wan Kuan has a powerful magic treasure that can severely injure a late-stage Saint Realm expert. This should be it. Lu Kang and the others are really unlucky. First, they were cheated of their immortal spirit stones. Now they're even going to lose their lives. There's nothing they can do about it. They're weaker than Wan Kuan. The prison wasteland domain is a place where fists speak. Thinking of the fate of Mo Qingyun and the others, the surrounding people couldn't help but sigh with sympathy. Just as everyone was sympathizing with Mo Qingyun and the others, the attack of the 5 Lightning Sky Palace arrived and bombarded Mo Qingyun. In the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun was swallowed by the lightning and disappeared from everyone's sight. Mr. Mo. Seeing Mo Qingyun being swallowed by the lightning, Lu Kang and the others immediately paled, and the shame in their hearts became even stronger. In their opinion, with Mo Qingyun's cultivation at the 6th level of the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm, he would definitely die if he was hit by the lightning. Seeing Mo Qingyun being swallowed by the lightning, Wan Kuan also had the same thought. He laughed proudly and said, "Kid, you're just an ant at the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm. How dare you find trouble with me? I think you're tired of living." Chapter 2248. Too weak. This level of lightning attack is like scratching an itch to me. As soon as Wan Kuan finished speaking, Mo Qingyun's voice sounded from within the lightning. Mo Qingyun didn't die? Everyone was shocked when they heard Mo Qingyun's voice, and they instinctively had this thought. Then, under their shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun walked out of the lightning. You are actually unscathed. How is this possible?" Wan Kuan was stunned when he saw Mo Qingyun walk out of the lightning without any injuries. He was very clear about the power of the 5 Lightning Sky Palace's array formation. Even a late-stage sage expert couldn't resist it. Mo Qingyun was merely at the 6th level of the 9 Heavens mystic immortal realm. How could he be unscathed after being hit by the lightning? This was too strange, completely beyond the scope of his understanding. Most importantly, the 5 Lightning Sky Palace was his trump card. If it couldn't even hurt Mo Qingyun, how could he fight against Mo Qingyun? Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. What else do you have? Show me everything you have. Mo Qingyun didn't rush to make a move when he saw the terrified Wan Kuan. He was like a predator toying with its prey. The more Mo Qingyun acted like this, the more afraid Wan Kuan was and the more he feared Mo Qingyun. Only now did he realize that he couldn't see through the young man before him at all. While Wan Kuan was panicking, an arrogant young man walked out of the room and said, "Pavilion Master Wan, have you encountered some trouble? Do you need me to help you?" The young man walked out of the room and walked over to Wan Kuan with an arrogant attitude. Hearing the young man's question, Wan Kuan's expression immediately turned joyful, and he hurriedly begged the young man, "Young Master Xiao Yun, this kid is a helper that Lu Kang found. He wants us to exchange our immortal spirit stones. Please help me." Wan Kuen's eyes flashed with craftiness when he said this, and his expression turned cold. With regards to Wan Kuen's current actions, anyone with a discerning eye would be able to clearly guess his intentions. What he said now was clearly to drag Xiao Yun into the water, to become a grasshopper on the same boat as him. Xiao Yun didn't notice Wan Kuen's intentions. After hearing what was said, he looked at Emo Qingyun. When Xiao Yun discovered Emo Qingyun's cultivation, he revealed a disdainful expression and curled his lips. Pavilion Master Wan, you're really regressing. A 9 Heavens Xian immortal brat can actually make you so miserable. Hearing Xiao Yun's words, Wan Kuan immediately revealed an embarrassed expression and said with a tense expression, Young Master Xiao Yun, there's something you don't know. This kid is extremely strange. You must not treat him with common sense. Otherwise, you'll suffer a great loss. I don't believe that a kid at the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm can overturn the heavens. Xiao Yun ignored Wan Kuen's reminder and snorted softly. Brat, I might as well tell you that I've taken your 100 million celestial spirit stones. Don't even think about taking them back. You've taken them? Emo Qingyun's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard Xiao Yun. A sliver of coldness flashed through his eyes as he said, Do you know what the consequences of what you've said right now will be? Don't blame this young master for not reminding you. Last time, someone angered me and I directly annihilated his entire family. Xiao Yun had a disdainful expression when he heard Emo Qingyun's question. He threatened Emo Qingyun again. If you know what's good for you, immediately kowtow to Pavilion Master Wan Kuan and admit your mistake. Then, get out of Chunyo City. This young master can spare you this time. As soon as Xiao Yun's words left his mouth, the surrounding people began to whisper and discuss some of Xiao Yun's deeds. So that person is Xiao Yun. This fella is famous for being a good-for-nothing. It's said that last time, he had a dispute with a mid-saint stage expert and he directly annihilated the other party's entire family. The Xiao family is different from Wan Kuan. If you provoke the Xiao family, it'll be a terrible thing. Isn't that obvious? The Xiao family has a late saint stage old ancestor. How can an ordinary person offend them? Everyone shook their heads when they thought of the Xiao family's strength. They were once again worried for Emo Qingyun. Noisy. While everyone was whispering, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He raised his hand and slapped towards Xiao Yun. He shouted coldly, Since you've taken my, Emo Qingyun's, I don't care if you're from the Xiao family or the Yi family. You'll have to pay the price. When Emo Qingyun shouted coldly, a terrifying aura fluctuation appeared above Xiao Yun. Then, a huge black palm pressed down on Xiao Yun in an overbearing manner. Young master, be careful. Brat, how dare you make a move on Xiao Yun? You're courting death. Let's attack together and annihilate these guys. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, some of Xiao Yun's followers immediately attacked Emo Qingyun. ZK's face darkened when he saw Xiao Yun's followers attack. His body emitted killing intent as he said, Humph, a bunch of reckless fools. Since you're tired of living, I'll be merciful and send you on your way. As soon as ZK finished speaking, he attacked Xiao Yun's followers and blasted them away with a thunderous force. Boom! When ZK blasted Xiao Yun's followers away, Emo Qingyun's palm landed on Xiao Yun's body. Xiao Yun was immediately blasted away by Emo Qingyun's palm and landed heavily on the ground. Puff! Xiao Yun fell to the ground and spat out blood. His face was pale as he looked at Emo Qingyun in shock. He didn't expect that Emo Qingyun would dare to attack him with his status as a direct descendant of the Xiao family. Brat, how dare you attack me? Aren't you afraid of the Xiao family's revenge? Thinking about how he had never suffered such humiliation since he was born, Xiao Yun's face immediately turned livid. Hearing Xiao Yun's question, Emo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and retorted indifferently, So what if I hurt you? Even if I kill you, the Xiao family similarly can't do anything to me. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Xiao Yun was immediately angered until he trembled, his expression becoming indeterminate. He really wanted to counterattack Mo Qingyun, but he was afraid that Mo Qingyun would really disregard everything and fight to the death with him. Just as Xiao Yun was worried, Wan Kuan beside him swiveled his eyes and revealed a cold smile as he goaded, "Brat, young master Xiao Yun is a direct descendant of the Xiao family. If you kill him, you'll be poking a hole in the sky." Hearing Wan Kuan's words, Xiao Yun's face immediately changed, giving rise to a strong sense of unease. Wan Kuan was going to screw him to death. Chapter 2249. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he slapped his palm towards Xiao Yun, and the aura on his body immediately skyrocketed by several times. Sensing the change in Mo Qingyun's aura, the surrounding people were immediately shocked, and all of them were frightened to the point their faces changed. What a powerful aura! Even a late-stage Sage Realm expert seems to be only at this level. This kid actually concealed his cultivation. Could his true cultivation be at the late-stage Sage Realm? Xiao Yun encountered a ruthless character this time. I'm afraid he'll suffer some losses. I don't believe that with Xiao Yun's powerful identity, this kid really dares to make a move against him. Everyone opened their eyes wide and revealed shocked expressions. They were frightened by Mo Qingyun's performance. Under the envelopment of Mo Qingyun's aura, Wan Kuan, who was at the side, was scared silly. He trembled and said in horror, How is this possible? Isn't this kid at the 6th level of the 9 heavens profound immortal realm? How can his aura be so terrifying? Under everyone's shocked gazes, an enormous black palm shadow crushed down toward Xiao Yun. Xiao Yun was only at the quasi-sage realm. With his strength, he was naturally unable to dodge Mo Qingyun's palm. Don't. Looking at the mountain-like black palm pressing down on him with the momentum of Mount Tai, Xiao Yun roared in horror. Boom! A loud bang rang out. Xiao Yun was directly blasted flat on the ground by the black enormous palm's bombardment. Under the bombardment of Mo Qingyun's palm, Xiao Yun's clothes were immediately blasted to shreds, and he was covered in wounds. He lay on the ground without any signs of life. Xiao Yun was dead. Mo Qingyun really killed him. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. They didn't dare to believe that this was true. In their opinion, with Xiao Yun's powerful background, Mo Qingyun shouldn't dare to touch him. One had to know that standing behind Xiao Yun was the Xiao clan, one of the top 10 forces in Chunyo City. He really killed Xiao Yun. Could it be that he's not afraid of the Xiao clan's revenge? This time, he really poked a hole in the sky. The Xiao clan will definitely be furious because of this. Not only that kid is going to be unlucky, even Wan Kuan is going to be unlucky. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the surrounding people were all shocked as they thought of how the Xiao clan was enraged. Wan Kuan's eyes widened as he stared at the news that there was no sign of life on the ground. He found it hard to believe that this was real. Just now, he implicated Xiao Yun because he wanted to borrow Xiao Yun's identity to make Mo Qingyun shrink back. He really did not think that Mo Qingyun would be so crazy, directly killing Xiao Yun. You're finished. You killed Xiao Yun, just wait for the Xiao family's anger. After a brief moment of shock, Wan Kuan revealed a cold smile, as if he could already see Mo Qingyun's end. With regards to Wan Kuan's pride, Mo Qingyun did not mind at all. He calmly looked at Wan Kuan and said, What other trump cards do you have? If you don't have any other methods, I can only send you on your way. You want to keep me here? Dream on. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wan Kuan's face immediately darkened. He immediately retreated and said, Brat, stay in the 5 Lightning Sky Palace obediently and wait for the Xiao family's revenge. Seeing that Wan Kuan wanted to escape, Mo Qingyun smiled in disdain. A mocking expression appeared on his face as he said, I haven't been in a hurry to kill you. Naturally, I'm confident that I won't let you escape. Get over here and accept your death. 5 lightning 7 stars array change. Mo Qingyun quickly formed a hand seal and sent it into the mark on the roof, immediately changing the array. Following that, an enormous light screen appeared in front of Wan Kun, repelling him back. Being hit by the light screen, Wan Kun was immediately sent flying towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all dumbfounded and petrified on the spot. What kind of method is this? He actually controlled the 5 Lightning Sky Palaces array. The 5 Lightning Sky Palaces array is an intermediate sacred array. If he can control the array so easily, could he be an intermediate sacred array master, or even an advanced sacred array master? When they thought of Mo Qingyun's attainments in spirit formations, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air as a lingering fear arose in their hearts. An expert of the late stage of the sage realm was already an extremely terrifying existence. If he was an advanced sacred array master, it would be a little terrifying. After thinking up to here, everyone's gaze towards Mo Qingyun immediately became reverent. At this moment, they had already made a silent decision to never provoke Mo Qingyun in the future. No. Impossible. You can't control the 5 Lightning Sky Palaces array. Wan Kun fell in front of Mo Qingyun. His eyes widened as he spoke crazily. Mo Qingyun's actions had destroyed his hopes of escaping. There's nothing impossible about this. You're just a frog in a well. Looking at the crazed Wan Kun, Mo Qingyun's expression was indifferent. He raised his hand and pressed down on Wan Kun. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Wan Kun's face turned sinister and he said, "Kid, even if I die today, I'll drag you down with me." Fire of civilization, heavenly sun-piercing star eyes. Seeing Wan Kun's actions, Mo Qingyun's right eye flashed red and shot out a ray of light. The light attack was extremely fast. It arrived in an instant and blasted into Wan Kun's sea of consciousness. After being blasted by the light, Wan Kun's body stiffened. His eyes widened as he stood there in a daze. Then, Wan Kun's eyes began to lose focus. Slowly, they became empty and he fell to the ground. Wan Kun was dead. Seeing Mo Qingyun kill Wan Kun and Xiao Yun in succession in the blink of an eye, everyone's fear of him immediately increased. This guy is a ruthless person. When Mo Qingyun killed Wan Kun, the followers behind Xiao Yun were also killed by ZK and the others. Looks like Chunyo City is not going to be peaceful. These people are obviously fierce dragons crossing the river. I wonder if they can withstand the Xiao family's revenge if they want to establish a foothold in Chunyo City. If they can withstand the Xiao family's revenge, the situation in Chunyo City will probably be reshuffled. If that's the case, I'm looking forward to it. The more they spoke, the more excited they became. It was as if they wanted to see Mo Qingyun and the Xiao family fight. Mo Qingyun did not care about the crowd's thoughts. He looked at the 5 Lightning Sky Palace. Wan Kun's treasure was not bad. If he could take it, it would be useful. Then, Mo Qingyun formed a hand seal and took the 5 Lightning Sky Palace. Chapter 2250. This Wan Kun is quite lucky. He actually obtained a Supreme Saint Artifact Mansion. After inspecting the 5 Lightning Sky Palace, Missouri Qingyun recognized its grade. A faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth as he muttered to himself, "After returning, I can give it to Wuyo and the others. If they encounter danger, they can use it to temporarily hide." After putting away the 5 Lightning Sky Palace, Missouri Qingyun turned to look at the others and said, "Everyone, if there's nothing else, you should leave the Wanxiang Pavilion as soon as possible." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, no one dared to stay any longer and immediately left the Wanxiang Pavilion. They knew very well that Mo Qingyun was chasing everyone away to consolidate the Wanxiang Pavilion. After everyone left, Lu Kong and the others recovered from their shock. They could not believe what had just happened. Mo Qingyun had actually killed Xiao Yun and Wan Kuan in a domineering manner and forcefully seized the Wanxiang pavilion. Mr. Mo, you've caused a disaster. You've killed Xiao Yun. The Xiao clan will definitely not let this matter rest. Thinking of the Xiao clan's terrifying strength, Lu Kang and the others were terrified and at a loss. Seeing the reaction of Lu Kang and the others, ZK's face darkened as he coldly shouted, "You're panicking over such a small matter. It's just the Xiao clan. If the enemy is the Dark Demon race, wouldn't you be scared out of your wits?" Dark Demon race? Under ZK's cold reprimand, Lu Kang and the others were immediately stunned. They did not understand what he meant. Hearing ZK's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He suddenly had an idea and said, "I forgot to tell you before. The Dark Demon race and I are like fire and water. It's a state where we won't rest until one of us is dead." Lu Kang and the others were stunned. Their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled. They never thought that Mo Qingyun would have such an enemy. This was beyond their expectations. Following that, Lu Kang and the others' expressions changed. It was as if they regretted following Mo Qingyun. At this moment, they finally understood why Mo Qingyun was not afraid of the Xiao clan. Mo Qingyun wasn't even afraid of the Dark Demon race, so why would he be afraid of the Xiao family? Seeing the reaction of Lu Kang and the others, Mo Qingyun guessed what they were thinking. He said indifferently, "Now I'll give you a chance to choose. If you want to leave now, I won't blame you at all. However, if you stay now, you won't be able to return in the future." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the hesitation on Lu Kang's face intensified. Not long after, a few people stood out and decided not to follow Mo Qingyun anymore. "Mr. Mo, I'm not strong enough. I'm afraid I can't help you much." A middle-aged man called Li Yongjin expressed his thoughts to Mo Qingyun with an apologetic look on his face. Behind Li Yongjin, a young man called Han Huang also hurriedly said to Mo Qingyun, "Mr. Mo, I'm just a nobody in the Nine Heavens' mysterious immortal realm. I won't get involved in the fight between big shots like you." Following behind Li Yongjin and Han Huang, the others also hurriedly voiced their thoughts. Mo Qingyun nodded calmly in response to Han Huang and the others' actions. He didn't show any emotional fluctuations. Then, Mo Qingyun took out some immortal spirit stones and scattered them in front of Han Huang and the others. He said, "Here are some immortal spirit stones. Consider it your reward for helping me recently. From now on, we're even. I hope you'll take care of yourself in the future." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Lu Kang and the others were shocked. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's actions. They could see that the amount of immortal spirit stones Mo Qingyun had taken out was at least tens of millions. They had only helped Mo Qingyun for a few days, but he had already given them 10 million immortal spirit stones as a reward. This was too generous. Looking at the immortal spirit stones in front of them, Li Yongjin and the others couldn't help but show some regret. They could almost imagine what kind of amazing rewards they would have received if they had continued to work for Mo Qingyun. "All right, you can leave now." After giving the immortal spirit stones to Han Huang and the others, Mo Qingyun didn't want to pay attention to them and waved his hand at them. Li Yongjin and the others put away the immortal spirit stones and left the Myriad Direction Pavilion with heavy expressions. When Li Yongjin and the others left, the news of Xiao Yun's death spread throughout the Chunyo city. Under everyone's spreading, the news of Mo Qingyun killing Xiao Yun immediately reached the Xiao family's ears. In the Xiao clan's conference hall. "What? Xiao Yun was killed by someone? Who has the guts to kill a direct descendant of the Xiao clan? It seems like the Xiao clan has been too easygoing, so much so that others have lost their respect for us. No matter who did this, we will not let this matter rest." For a moment, the Xiao clan's elders in the conference hall were furious. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's killing of Xiao Yun was a slap to the Xiao clan's face. "Deacon Ma, tell us everything about Xiao Yun's death." Xiao Zhanxiong, who was sitting at the front of the conference hall, had a solemn expression on his face as he instructed the plain-clothed middle-aged man in the conference hall. Upon hearing Xiao Zhanxiong's words, Deacon Ma hurriedly replied and reported Xiao Yun's death. A few days ago, a group of people came to the Cheonyo city. They wanted to purchase the Myriad Direction Pavilion with 100 billion low-grade celestial spiritual stones. When young Master Xiao Yun heard about this, he joined forces with Pavilion Master Wan Kuan to cheat those people of their immortal spirit stones and expelled them from the Cheonyo city. Who would have thought that today, those people would find a group of powerful helpers and barge into the Myriad Direction Pavilion. Not only did they kill Wan Kuan, but they also killed young Master Xiao Yun. Everyone in the conference hall fell silent after hearing Deacon Ma's story. Their expressions were unreadable. Speaking of which, Xiao Yun was the one who was in the wrong. More importantly, those who could take out 100 billion immortal spirit stones were not to be underestimated. Patriarch, I'm afraid these people aren't simple. I'm afraid they won't be easy to deal with. The second elder of the Xiao clan, Xiao Quan, had a solemn expression as he reminded Xiao Zhanxiong. Upon hearing Xiao Quan's words, Xiao Zhanxiong immediately nodded as he realized how difficult it would be to deal with the enemy. While Xiao Zhanxiong was deep in thought, the great elder of the Xiao clan, Xiao Gang, snorted unhappily and said, "No matter who they are, since they dared to kill a member of the Xiao clan, they will have to pay a painful price." Following that, the elders of the Xiao clan in the conference hall each had their own opinions and started to argue with each other. "Everyone, please be quiet." Seeing everyone's reaction, Xiao Zhanxiong immediately spread out his hands and gestured for everyone to be quiet. After everyone had quieted down, Xiao Zhanxiong's expression was solemn as he instructed Deacon Ma, "Deacon Ma, immediately bring people to the Myriad Direction Pavilion to investigate the origin of those people and their strength." "Yes." Chapter 2251. Outside the Wan Xiang Pavilion. What are your plans from now on? Han Huang walked out of the Wan Xiang Pavilion and asked Li Yongjin and the rest for their thoughts. Hearing Han Huang's question, Li Yongjin and the others were stunned. Confusion appeared on their faces. At that moment, they had lost their direction and did not know where to go. "What else can we do? Find a small force and continue to be a guest." Under everyone's gaze, Li Yongjin sighed and said helplessly. Hearing Li Yongjin's words, Han Huang and the rest nodded and agreed with Li Yongjin's idea. Now, they had no other choice but to do so. Who do you think will win in the battle between Mo Qingyun and the Xiao family? At this moment, a person revealed a curious expression and asked for everyone's opinion. Under this person's question, Han Huang and the others revealed curious expressions. They were also interested in this matter. "Why don't we stay in Cheonyo City and watch the battle between Mo Qingyun and the Xiao family? That's good too. They probably won't expect us to stay in Cheonyo City. You think too highly of yourself. With the Xiao family's strength and status, they won't care about us. If that's the case, let's see who will win in the end." Li Yongjin and the rest talked for a while and came to a decision. They wanted to see who would have the last laugh between Mo Qingyun and the Xiao family. Then, Li Yongjin and the rest found a restaurant and stayed in Cheonyo City. However, they did not expect the Xiao family to come knocking on their door not long after they stayed there. Facing the encirclement of the Xiao family, they did not even dare to resist and were captured by the Xiao family. After a short while, in the Xiao family's meeting hall, Han Huang and the rest were terrified and kneeling on the ground while trembling. They were questioned by Xiao Zhanxiong and the rest. "Patriarch Xiao, we are just small figures. We really don't know Mo Qingyun's background. Moreover, we have been expelled by Mo Qingyun. We have nothing to do with him. Patriarch Xiao, please spare us. We really don't know anything." "Yes. We've already told you everything we know. Xiao Zhanxiong and the others' questions were answered by Li Yongjin and the others, and then they started begging. At this moment, the regret in the hearts of Li Yongjin and the others immediately grew stronger. If they had not left Mo Qingyun, they would not have ended up like this. If you want me to spare you, just this information is not enough. Facing Li Yongjin and the others, please, Xiao Zhanxiong's face turned cold. He released a murderous aura and said, "If your answers still don't satisfy me, I can only send you on your way." "I'll talk." Under Xiao Zhanxiong's threat, Li Yongjin's expression became flustered. He immediately explained what he knew. "We really don't know Mo Qingyun's exact background. However, after he came to the Chunyo Immortal Domain, he went directly to the demon-slaughtering Immortal Palace and was received by Qin 2Mo. He also cultivated in a sect in the demon-slaughtering mountain range. I think his sect is called the Creation Immortal Palace." "Oh, is there such a thing?" Hearing Li Yongjin's words, Xiao Zhanxiong's expression froze. He was a little surprised by this news. Following which, Xiao Zhanxiong's expression became serious. A look of dread appeared on his face as he said, "He established a sect in the demon-slaughtering mountain range, which is under the jurisdiction of the demon-slaughtering Immortal Palace. If we rashly deal with them, we may incur the wrath of the demon-slaughtering Immortal Palace. This matter needs to be considered at length. Family head, the internal strife in the demon-slaughtering Immortal Palace is very fierce. Perhaps we can get someone else to do the dirty work." Seeing Xiao Zhanxiong's expression, the first elder's expression turned cold. He suggested to Xiao Zhanxiong and said, "This kid is a new force in the demon-slaughtering mountain range. He will definitely be ostracized by the other forces. If we fan the flames, we may be able to get rid of him with the help of the other forces." The first elder is right. This is indeed a good idea. Hearing the first elder's suggestion, the elders of the Xiao family in the main hall all nodded in agreement. Seeing everyone's attitude, Xiao Zhanxiong also nodded and said to the first elder, Xiao Chua, "If that's the case, then I'll have to trouble you to make a trip to the demon-slaughtering mountain range and find out what the other forces are thinking. I'll rush over right now." After everyone finished their discussion, Xiao Chua did not delay any longer and immediately rushed to the demon-slaughtering mountain range. After Xiao Chua left, Xiao Zhanxiong glanced at Li Yongjin and the others and waved his hand. "Lock them up first. If there's any falsehood in their words, kill them all." Under Xiao Zhanxiong's command, Li Yongjin and the others were taken away and locked up in the Xiao family's dungeon. Inside the Thousand-Direction Pavilion, under Mo Qingyun's lead, everyone came to a room and sat down to wait for Mo Qingyun's instructions. Glancing at Lu Kong and the others, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious and said, "Since you've chosen to stay, I don't want you to have any regrets in the future. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless and killing you all. We'll remember young master's words." Under Mo Qingyun's warning, Lu Kong and the others showed reverence and immediately nodded in agreement. Seeing Lu Kong and the others' performance, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and said, "Of course, if you work for me loyally, you won't be short of benefits. When the time comes, the rewards I give out will be far beyond your imagination." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Kong and the others' eyes immediately lit up, and a look of anticipation appeared on their faces. They did not doubt Mo Qingyun's words. Based on their understanding of Mo Qingyun, since Mo Qingyun said so, there must be a shocking reward. From now on, this will be the property of the Immortal Palace of Fortune. It will be renamed Qin Yun's Pavilion. After warning Lu Kong and the others, Mo Qingyun changed the topic to Qin Yun's Pavilion and began to appoint Lu Kong and the others. "Lu Kong, from now on, you will be the pavilion master of Qin Yun's Pavilion. The others will be the stewards of Qin Yun's Pavilion. As for the other members of Qin Yun's Pavilion, you can recruit them in Chunyo City later." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's appointment and instructions, Lu Kang and the others immediately nodded and remembered Mo Qingyun's words. After giving a simple explanation to Lu Kang and the others, Mo Qingyun waved his hand at them and signaled them to tidy up Qingyun's pavilion. After Lu Kang and the others left, ZK's face darkened and he said, "Master, the Shao family is not strong. Why don't we directly destroy them? The Shao family can't run away. There's no need to rush to deal with them." Mo Qingyun shook his head and rejected ZK's suggestion. He said, "Once we attack the Shao family, the other forces in Chunyu City will be wary of Qingyun's pavilion. This will be detrimental to the development of Qingyun's pavilion." Chapter 2252. Demon Fall Mountain Range, inside the Fighting Demon Sect. At this moment, the Fighting Demon Sect was filled with an oppressive atmosphere that made it hard for people to breathe. At this moment, a haughty old man arrived at the mountain gate of the Fighting Demon Sect. This old man was the Shao family's great elder, Shao Chua. The Fighting Demon Sect, one of the 4 demon sects of the Demon Fall Mountain Range, is actually holding a funeral. Looking at the scene inside the Fighting Demon Sect, Shao Chua immediately revealed a surprised expression, and a strong sense of curiosity arose in him. He said, "From this scale, the identity of the person who died in the Fighting Demon Sect should not be simple." Filled with curiosity, Shao Chua's footsteps moved lightly, and he walked into the Fighting Demon Sect. Soon, Shao Chua entered the Fighting Demon Sect, and followed the crowd to burn incense for Pang Xiao. When Shao Chua learned of Pang Xiao's identity, he immediately revealed a shocked expression and said inwardly, "Who is so daring to kill the young lord of the Fighting Demon Sect? This is an irreconcilable enmity with the Fighting Demon Sect." Then, Shao Chua developed a strong sense of curiosity about the identity of the murderer. He walked towards a Fighting Demon Sect disciple and asked, "Little brother, who is so daring to kill young Lord Pang Xiao?" Hearing Shao Chua's question, the disciple's face immediately darkened, and he said angrily, "The person who killed young Lord is Mo Qingyun of the Immortal Palace of Fortune. After we bury young Lord, we will go and flatten the Immortal Palace of Fortune." "What? Mo Qingyun?" After learning of Pang Xiao's murderer, Shao Chua was immediately shocked, and his eyes widened. He really did not expect that the person who killed Pang Xiao and Xiao Yun would be the same person. After a short moment of shock, Shao Chua's expression became tense, and his mood became heavier. "This Mo Qingyun is so arrogant, he must have some backing. It seems that I have to thoroughly investigate his background." While Shao Chua was shocked, he also revealed a cold smile, and silently calculated in his heart, "Previously, we were still worrying about how to unite the 4 demon sects of the Demon Fall Mountain Range to deal with Mo Qingyun together. Who would have thought that an opportunity would fall from the sky? Mo Qingyun, it seems that even the heavens can't stand it anymore and want to kill you." While Shao Chua was feeling pleased with himself, he also had a plan. He asked the Fighting Demon Sect disciple, "Little brother, this old master has something to discuss with Sect Master Pang. I hope you can pass on the message." This, hearing Shao Chua's request, the disciple showed a difficult expression and couldn't help but hesitate. At this moment, Pang Xiao was currently receiving Yu Ji and Lei Rue. She clearly had no time to pay attention to Shao Chua. But from Shao Chua's appearance, he was obviously not an ordinary person. If he was neglected, it would be troublesome. While the disciple was hesitating, a blue-robed middle-aged man walked over. Seeing the blue-robed middle-aged man slowly approaching, the disciple's face lit up. He hurriedly said, "Fifth Elder, this senior is looking for the sect master. He says he has something to discuss with the sect master." Hearing the disciple's report, the 5th elder raised his eyebrows and couldn't help but turn to look at Xiao Ling. The 5th elder glanced at Xiao Ling and revealed a surprised expression. He recognized Xiao Ling's identity and asked, You are the great elder of Qianyu City's Xiao clan, Senior Xiao Chua? Elder knows this old master? Xiao Ling revealed a surprised expression, and a joyful expression appeared on his face. Since the other party knew him, the following matters would be much easier to handle. When I went to Qianyu City to handle some matters, I was fortunate enough to meet Senior a few times. The fifth elder simply explained and revealed a curious expression. He asked Xiao Ling, Senior Xiao Chua, I wonder what is so important that you are urgently looking for the sect master. It's a long story, but it's very important to you all. Xiao Ling didn't elaborate on the fifth elder's question and directly gave a simple explanation. Hearing Xiao Ling's explanation, the fifth elder's expression became serious. He made a gesture of invitation and said, Since that's the case, Senior Xiao Chua, please follow me. I will bring you to see the sect master. Thank you, elder. Seeing the fifth elder's action, Xiao Ling cupped his hands and followed the fifth elder. After a while, under the fifth elder's lead, Xiao Ling walked into a large hall. At that moment, there were already many people seated in the large hall. They seemed to be discussing something important. Sect Master, this is Senior Xiao Chua from the Xiao clan in Qianyu City. He has something important to discuss with you. The fifth elder walked into the large hall and introduced Xiao Ling. He then directly explained the purpose of Xiao Ling's visit. Hearing the fifth elder's words, Pang Chao's expression immediately tensed up. He nodded politely at Xiao Ling and said, Elder Xiao Ling, what important matter do you have to discuss with me? Sect Master Pang, I believe you know Mo Qingyun? Under Pang Chao's inquiry, Xiao Ling didn't beat around the bush and directly explained his purpose of visit. To be honest, Mo Qingyun killed a direct descendant of the Xiao clan in Qianyu City. I have come to the Demon Fall mountain range today to find out more about him so that I can avenge my clan members. Mo Qingyun killed a direct descendant of the Xiao clan? Hearing Xiao Ling's words, Pang Chao and the rest were stunned. They were shocked by this news. They were worried that they would lack some powerful helpers in the process of dealing with Mo Qingyun. They didn't expect the Qianyu City's Xiao clan to appear so quickly. This was simply heaven helping them. Elder Xiao Ling, we are now discussing how to deal with that brat Mo Qingyun. After knowing the purpose of Xiao Ling's visit, Pang Chao revealed a cold smile and suggested to Xiao Ling, if the Xiao clan doesn't mind, we can join forces to eliminate Mo Qingyun and the Palace of Creation. That's exactly what I want. Seeing Pang Chao take the initiative to ask for an alliance, Xiao Ling's face immediately lit up and he spoke his mind. Following which, Pang Chao and the rest discussed how to join forces to deal with Mo Qingyun. Within the Qin Yun Pavilion, under Lu Kang and the others' efforts, the Qin Yun Pavilion was fully restored and reopened for business. ZK, you stay behind to guard the Qin Yun Pavilion. I'm going to the Fortune Mainland. Seeing that the Qin Yun Pavilion was on the right track, Mo Qingyun left some instructions to ZK and entered the Fortune Mainland. Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not slow down when he arrived at the Fortune Mainland, and he directly entered the Qin Yun Valley. After arriving at the Qin Yun Valley, Mo Qingyun directly went to Yi Huio's residence and gathered Yi Huio and the other women. Qingyun, why are you looking for us? The several women approached Mo Qingyun with curious expressions on their faces, inquiring about the purpose of Mo Qingyun's visit. Under the several women's curious gazes, Mo Qingyun walked out of the Five Lightning Heavenly Palace and said, This is a magic artifact I just obtained. I'm going to help you refine it so that you can protect yourself in the future. Chapter 2253. Under the expectant gazes of the women, a small mansion appeared in Mo Qingyun's hands. This is the supreme-grade sacred artifact, the Five Thunder Sky Palace. After taking out the Five Thunder Sky Palace, Missouri Qingyun gave a simple introduction. Then, he said to the women in front of him, There is an intermediate-grade sacred array set up here. Even if a late-stage pseudo-sage expert enters, they will be defeated. Which one of you will refine it? Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Yi Wuyo and the other women were stunned. They couldn't help but look at each other. Sister Wuyo has the deepest understanding of arrays. I think she is the most suitable one. Xia is the most talented and has the highest cultivation level. It will be easier for her to refine it. Actually, there is no need to fight. No matter who refines it, it is the same to us. After discussing for a while, the women came to a consensus and decided to let Yi Wuyo refine it. Seeing that the women had finished their discussion, Emo Qingyun and Yi Wuyo walked into the cultivation room to help her refine the 5 Thunder Sky Palace. After entering the cultivation room, Emo Qingyun didn't waste any time and immediately released the power of creation. The power of creation seeped into Yi Wuyo's body and guided her immortal spiritual force. Under Emo Qingyun's guidance, Yi Wuyo's immortal spiritual force was guided out and seeped into the 5 Thunder Sky Palace. With Emo Qingyun's help, the 5 Thunder Sky Palace was refined bit by bit and formed a mental connection with Yi Wuyo. About a day later, with Emo Qingyun's help, Yi Wuyo finally refined the 5 Thunder Sky Palace. Seeing that Yi Wuyo was refining the 5 Thunder Sky Palace, Missouri Qingyun didn't stop there. He said to Yi Wuyo, "Since the 5 Thunder Sky Palace has been refined, I will help you familiarize yourself with the array formation so that you can better control it." Okay. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Yi Wuyo responded and began to familiarize herself with the array formation of the 5 Thunder Sky Palace. Because Yi Wuyo had a certain foundation in array formations, it was much easier for Emo Qingyun to guide her. After a few more days, Yi Wuyo finally gained control of the 5 Lightning Heavenly Palace. Alright, let's go out. Now that Yi Wuyo had complete control over the 5 Thunder Sky Palace, Missouri Qingyun was unwilling to stay any longer. He got up and walked out of the cultivation room. When Emo Qingyun walked out of the cultivation room, Xia and the other girls were already waiting for him. They welcomed Emo Qingyun with happy expressions. When the girls saw Yi Wuyo behind them, they immediately became excited and gave Yi Wuyo looks. Sister Wuyo, now that you've refined the 5 Lightning Sky Palace, you've gained some power to protect yourself. In that case, shouldn't we tell Qingyun about our previous plan? I heard that Qingyun has just opened an auction house. Perhaps we can go and help. Yu and the other girls beamed with delight as they voiced their thoughts one after another. Hearing Xia and the others' words, Yi Wuyo no longer hid her thoughts and summarized everyone's thoughts. Knowing the girls' thoughts, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly. After pondering for a moment, he said, "Qingyun's pavilion has just been opened, and has yet to gain a firm foothold in Cheonyo City. There are still many unknown dangers. After I've dealt with these hidden dangers, I'll leave Qingyun's pavilion in your care. You said it yourself. When the time comes, you can't go back on your words." Hearing Emo Qingyun's promise, the girls' faces lit up and they winked playfully at Emo Qingyun. Subsequently, Emo Qingyun chatted with the girls for a while before leaving the Fortune mainland. Back in Qingyun's pavilion, Emo Qingyun went to find ZK and asked about the recent situation in Qingyun's pavilion. Under Emo Qingyun's inquiry, ZK solemnly reported, "A few days ago, Qingyun's pavilion encountered several small troubles. After this subordinate killed all of them, everyone became more obedient." And after learning about the situation in Qingyun's pavilion, Emo Qingyun nodded and asked, "What's the Shao family doing these days? Do they have any intention of making a move on Qingyun's pavilion?" "Nothing for the time being, as if they don't care about you killing Shao Yun." ZK revealed a puzzled expression as he explained the Shao family's situation. He then added, "But last night, the Shao family's grand elder led a group of people and quietly left Cheonyo City. It seems like he's dealing with an important matter." "Oh, there's such a thing?" Emo Qingyun was bewildered when he learned of the Shao clan's actions. He was a little surprised. Although he was surprised by the Xiao family's actions, Mo Qingyun didn't pay much attention to it. He instructed ZK, "Continue to keep an eye on the Xiao family. I'm going back to the Fortune Immortal Palace. You stay in Qin Yun's pavilion. I killed Pang Chao's son. He will probably make a move on the Fortune Immortal Palace." "Yes." ZK immediately nodded in response to Mo Qingyun's instructions. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun left some instructions to Lu Kang and the others before setting off for the Fortune Immortal Palace. When Mo Qingyun returned to the Fortune Immortal Palace, a group of people had gathered at the Fighting Demon Sect, killing intent surging from their bodies. Inside the Fighting Demon Sect, Elder Xiao Chua, with the help of the Xiao family, we will definitely be able to flatten the Fortune Immortal Palace. Looking at the group of people that Xiao Chua had brought, Pang Chao smiled coldly and clenched his fists tightly. "Mo Qingyun, I didn't expect your hands to extend to Qionyou City. Your appetite is quite big."